อ้เป็นไงพื้นหลังใหม่เออวันนี้จ้าเราเข้าสู่สตรีมของ CallistoSoCool ในวันนี้นะวันนี้เราก็จะเปิดเริ่มซีรีส์ใหม่นะคะด้วยความที่เราก็พูดเองเนาะว่าเราจะเป็นผู้นำวงการ V Writer ซึ่งก็คือไปเขียนนิยายแต่ว่าคือเราเขียนนิยายอย่างเดียวมันก็น่าจะธรรมดาเกินไปนะเราก็เลยอยากหาคอนเทนต์ด้วยการอ่านนิยายบ้างซึ่งนิยายชุดเดียวที่ฉันมีก็คือแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์ภาษาอังกฤษนะซึ่งฉันก็มีมานานแหละก็เอาจริงๆก็ไม่ได้คิดหรอกว่าตัวเองจะมาทำคอนเทนต์อ่านนิยายเพราะว่าปกติเป็นคนที่แบบว่าคือเราก็อ่านหนังสือชอบอ่านหนังสือนะแต่แค่ว่ามันแล้วแต่บางทีก็ชอบอ่านบางทีก็ไม่ค่อยชอบอ่านนะแล้วแต่อารมณ์นะวันนี้เราก็มาเปิดประเดิมซีรีส์นะคะด้วยแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์นั่นแหละอย่างที่เราขึ้นปกไว้เนาะพื้นหลังชั้นนี่ก็เปลี่ยนเล็กน้อยนะเพื่อให้มันเข้ากับเออซีรีส์เพราะว่านี่คืออ่านหนังสืออ่านนิยายไงมันก็ต้องเป็นเกี่ยวกับหนังสือใช่ไหมฉันก็ทำพื้นหลังเป็นห้องสมุดซึ่งรูปก็เอามาจากพินนั่นแหละรูปเอามาจากพินง่ายๆเลยนะก็ส่วนเพลงแบ็กกราวด์มิวสิกที่คนได้ยินอยู่ตอนนี้คือไม่ใช่เพลงใหม่หรอกจริงๆมันคือเพลงอินโทรอันเก่าของฉันแต่ว่าฉันเอามาทำเป็นเพลงประกอบแบ็กกราวด์มิวสิกเพลงแบ็กกราวด์มิวสิกนะตอนนี้เพราะว่าฉันรู้สึกว่ามันน่าจะเข้ากว่าด้วยความที่ว่ามันมีความแบบมีกลิ่นอายความเป็นไม่แอบช็อตโอ้ยเมื่อวานก็เพิ่งดีใจไปว่าไม่ช็อตวันนี้ไม่ช็อตคือไม่จะช็อตแบบทำไมคะหนูไม่เข้าใจแล้วคือการไม่ช็อตแล้วคือการไม่ช็อตนี่เป็นสิ่งที่แย่ที่สุดของการอ่านหนังสือเลยนะคือแบบว่าฉันจะอ่านแบบคือมันต้องฟังเสียงไงแล้วคือฉันอ่านปุ๊บแล้วไม่ช็อตก็คือชิบหายนะคะไม่คิดจะพูดอะไรนะแบ็กกราวด์มิวสิกมันมีความแบบแมจิคอลนิดนึงก็เข้ากับแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์ดีก็เลยว่าโอเคงั้นเอามาทำเป็นแบ็กกราวด์มิวสิกเนี่ยแหละถึงมันจะเป็นเพลงอินโทรมาก่อนนะคือไม่เข้าใจว่าไม่จะช็อตทำไมเมื่อวานไม่ช็อตนะแต่คนดูไม่ค่อยเยอะคนดูหายไปช่วงท้ายๆนะแต่ก็ช่างมันแต่ว่าวันนี้ไม่ช็อตตั้งแต่แรกเลยเหรอพี่จะช็อตทำไมครับไม่คือหนูแบบหนูอุตส่าห์แบบวันนี้ฉันจะดีฉันจะแบบอ่านหนังสือฉันจะเปลี่ยนมูดหน่อยไม่ช็อตอีกแล้วโอ้ยคือถ้าฉันอ่านไปอ่านมาแล้วแบบว่ามันช็อตขัดจังหวะนี่คือชิบหายเลยนะเอาไงครับพี่เดี๋ยวแป๊บนึงนะท่านขออันนี้ใหม่แป๊บนึงไม่เข้าใจบางทีช็อตทำไมอ่ะโอ้ยงงทุกคนรอแป๊บนึงนะฉันขอปรับสายไมค์ก่อนโอเคฉันถอดเสียบไมค์ใหม่แล้วไม่รู้ว่าจะแก้ปัญหาได้ไหมเพราะว่าขณะตอนนั้นนะที่ฉันแก้เป็นตำแหน่งสายไมค์ชนิดนึงอ่ะมันรู้สึกเหมือนก็จะแก้ได้นะแต่ว่าเหมือนแป๊บนึงมันก็กลับมาเป็นอีกแล้วนะคะไม่รู้ทำไมนะก็หวังว่าจะไม่ช็อตหวังว่าวันนี้จะไม่ช็อตเยอะเพราะว่าฉันมาอ่านในอ่านนิยายคือทวนจะเป็นแบบน้ำเสียงที่แบบว่าคลีนมันไม่ควรจะมีความช็อตนะเก็ตปะคือไม่ช็อตเป็นสิ่งที่น่ากลัวที่สุดที่มันจะเกิดขึ้นฉะนั้นก็หวังว่าไม่จะไม่ช็อตนะคะอย่าช็อตเลยขอร้องนะเราลืมสวัสดีคุณแซนบ็อกเลยสวัสดีคุณแซนบ็อกที่เข้าสู่สตรีมของ CallistoSoCool ในวันนี้นะวันนี้เราจะมาอ่านนิยายกันนะฮะนิยายของเราแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์ของเราเป็นเวอร์ชันภาษาอังกฤษนะฉะนั้นก็นั่นแหละโอเคเราเริ่มอ่านเลยดีไหมคือฉันกลัวว่าไม่ฉันจะช็อตระหว่างการที่ฉันเนี่ยคือฉันระแวงแล้วตอนนี้เอาจริงไม่คือไม่อย่าช็อตเลยนะคุณไม่อย่าช็อตเลยนะคะหนูหนูไม่อยากทำบรรยากาศเสียนะคะโอเคเราเริ่มอ่านเลยดีกว่าเราขอ disclaimer ไว้ก่อนแล้วกันว่าสมมติว่าในขณะที่เราอ่านอยู่แล้วใครช่องแชทส่งคอมเมนต์อะไรมาแล้วเราไม่ได้อ่านคือเราไม่ได้เมินนะด้วยความที่ว่าเรารู้สึกว่าถ้าสมมติว่าเราอ่านหนังสือของนิยายของเราไปแล้วเออเราอ่านหนังสือของเราไปแล้วเราอะไรสลับไปอ่านคอมเมนต์ตลอดอย่างเงี้ยเหมือนเรารู้สึกว่ามันจะขัดกับวิสัยในการอ่านเพราะว่าหรือมันจะขัดบรรยากาศเหมือนเรากำลังเข้าแบบไอ้เนี่ยเรากำลังอินแล้วอยู่ดีเราไปขัดอ่านคอมเมนต์เนี่ยคือฉันก็รู้สึกขัดนิดนึงแล้วก็คนดูก็น่าจะรู้สึกขัดนิดนึงแหละ ด้วยความที่มันไม่ต่อเนื่องอะนะเราก็เลยดิสเคลมเมอร์ก่อนว่าด้วยความที่แฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์มันเป็นแบ่งเป็นแชปเตอร์ใช่ไหมฉันก็จะอ่านเป็น1แชปเตอร์ก่อนถ้าหมดแชปเตอร์นั้นปุ๊บฉันก็จะค่อยมาอ่านเมนทีเดียวฉะนั้นใครส่งคอมเมนต์อะไรมาแล้วฉันไม่ได้อ่านคือฉันไม่ได้เมินนะอย่าเพิ่งน้อยใจนะฉันรออ่านหลังคอมเมนต์ทีเดียวหลังจบแต่ละแชปเตอร์นะซึ่งแชปเตอร์หนึ่งของแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์อ่ะมันจะมีประมาณ20หน้านี่แหละซึ่งสปีดเราก็อ่านไม่ได้ช้ามากนะ20หน้าก็ประมาณนั้นนะก็ทุกคนอย่าน้อยใจนะถ้าสมมติว่าใครส่งคอมเมนต์มาแล้วเราไม่ได้อ่านคือเราต้องพยายามคีปให้มันไม่ไอ้นี่นะผลออกแล้วนะพรีเมียมกระดูกขาขวาเกือบหักต้องใช้ไม้เท้าไว้ก่อนโอ้โหก็ขอภาวนาให้พรีเมียมหายเร็วๆนะคะจะได้กลับมาดูสตรีมเราเร็วๆนะผู้เราทุกคนรักและคิดถึงพรีเมียมค่ะมาไม่พูดทำเพลงเถอะเรามาเริ่มอ่านกันเลยดีกว่านะเราจะเริ่มจากไม่ใช่พาร์ทสิเราจะเริ่มจากภาคที่1นะคะก็คือ Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone หรือถ้าภาษาไทยก็คือ Harry Potter กับศิลาอาถรรพ์นั่นแหละซึ่งคือถ้าทุกคนสังเกตว่าฉันหลับตาบ่อยนี่คือฉันไม่ได้อะไรนะคือเวลาฉันอ่านฉันต้องก้มอ่านซึ่งตำแหน่งการจับ face tracking ของโปรแกรมอ่ะมันจะทำเหมือนว่าฉันหลับตาไงฉะนั้นก็อย่าตกใจถ้าฉันเห็นว่าอย่าตกใจนะถ้าเหมือนว่าฉันหลับตาคือฉันไม่ได้หลับตาฉันแค่ก้มอ่านนะคือถึงฉันยกอ่านให้มันเต็มให้มันอยู่หน้าจออย่างเงี้ยมันก็ไอ้นี่เหมือนกันหลับตานะเราเริ่มอ่านกันดีกว่านะคือด้วยความที่มันเป็นซีรีส์ใหม่อะไรก็จะแบบไอ้นี่หน่อยนะหวังว่าไมค์จะไม่ช็อตนะคะเพราะถ้าไมค์ช็อตฉันจะรู้สึกแย่มากมาเริ่มเถอะChapter 1 The Boy Who Lived Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Prevent Drive were proud to say that they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much. They were the last people you'd expect to be involved in anything strange or mysterious, because they just didn't hold with such nonsense. Mr. Dursley was the director of a firm called Grunnings, which made drills. He was a big, beefy man with hardly any neck, although he did have a very large mustache. Mrs. Dursley was thin and blonde and had nearly twice the usual amount of neck, which came in very useful as she spent so much of her time craning over garden fences, spying on the neighbors. The Dursleys had a small son called Dudley, and in their opinion there was no finer boy anywhere. The Dursleys had everything they wanted, but they also had a secret, and their greatest fear was that somebody would discover it. They didn't think they could bear it if anyone found out about the Potters. Mrs. Potter was Mrs. Dursley's sister, but they hadn't met for several years. In fact, Mrs. Dursley pretended she didn't have a sister, because her sister and her good-for-nothing husband were as un-Dursley-ish as it was possible to be. The Dursleys shuddered to think what the neighbors would say if the Potters arrived in the street. The Dursleys knew that the Potters had a small son, too, but they had never even seen him. This boy was another good reason for keeping the Potters away. They didn't want Dudley mixing with a child like that. When Mr. and Mrs. Dursley woke up on the dull, gray Tuesday our story starts, there was nothing about the cloudy sky outside to suggest that strange and mysterious things would soon be happening all over the country. Mr. Dursley hummed as he picked out his most boring tie for work, and Mrs. Dursley gossiped away happily as she wrestled a screaming Dudley into his high chair. None of them noticed a large tawny owl flutter past the window. At 8:30, Mr. Dursley picked up his briefcase, pecked Mrs. Dursley on the cheek, and tried to kiss Dudley goodbye, but missed, because Dudley was now having a tantrum and throwing his cereals at the walls. Little Tyke, short of Mr. Dursley, as he left the house. He got into his car and backed out of number 4's drive. It was on the corner of the street that he noticed the first sign of something peculiar. A cat reading a map. For a second, Mr. Dursley didn't realize what he had seen. Then he jerked his head around to look again. There was a tabby cat standing on the corner of Privet Drive, but there wasn't a map in sight. What could he have been thinking of? It must have been a trick of the light. Mr. Dursley blinked and stared at the cat. It stared back as Mr. Dursley drove around the corner and up the road. He watched the cat in his mirror. It was now reading the sign that said "Prevent Drive." No, looking at the sign. Cats couldn't read maps or signs. Mr. Dursley gave himself a shake and put the cat out of his mind. As he drove toward the town, he thought of nothing except a large order of drills he was hoping to get that day. But on the edge of town, drills were driven out of his mind by something else. As he sat in the usual morning traffic jam, he couldn't help noticing that there seemed to be a lot of strangely dressed people about. People in cloaks. Mr. Dursley couldn't bear people who dressed in funny clothes. The gets-up you saw on young people. He supposed this was some stupid new fashion. He drummed his finger on the steering wheel and his eye fell on a huddle of these weirdos standing quite close by. They were whispering excitedly together. Mr. Dursley was enraged to see that a couple of them weren't young at all. Why that man had to be older than he was, and wearing an emerald green cloak. The nerve of him. But then it struck Mr. Dursley that this was probably some silly stunt. These people were obviously collecting for something. Yes, that would be it. The traffic moved on, and a few minutes later, Mr. Dursley arrived in the Grunnings car park, his mind back on drills. Mr. Dursley always sat with his back to the window in his office on the 9th floor. If he hadn't, he might have found it harder to concentrate on drills that morning. He didn't see the owl swooping past in broad daylight. Though people down the street did, they pointed and gazed open-mouthed as owl after owl sped overhead. Most of them had never seen an owl even at night time. Mr. Dursley, however, had a perfectly normal, owl-free morning. He yelled at 5 different people. He made several important telephone calls and shouted a bit more. He was in a very good mood until lunchtime, when he thought he'd stretch his leg and walk across the road to buy himself a bun from the baker's opposite. He'd forgotten all about the people in clothes until he passed a group of them next to the bakers. He eyed them angrily as he passed. He didn't know why, but they made him uneasy. The slots were whispering excitedly too, and he couldn't see a single collecting tin. It was on his way back past them, clutching a large donut in the bag, that he caught a few words of what they were saying. "The Potters! That's right. That's what I heard. Yes, their son Harry." Mr. Dursley stopped dead. Fear flooded him. He looked back at the whispers as if he wanted to say something to them, but thought better of it. He dashed back across the road, hurried up to his office, snapped at his secretary not to disturb him, seized his telephone, and had almost finished dialing his home number when he changed his mind. He put the receiver back down and stroked his mustache, thinking, no, he was being stupid. Potter wasn't such an unusual name. He was sure there were lots of people called Potter who had a son called Harry. Come to think of it, he wasn't even sure his nephew was called Harry. He'd never seen the boy. It might have been Harvey or Harold. There was no point in worrying. Mrs. Dursley, she always got so upset at any mention of her sister. He didn't blame her if he'd had a sister like that. But all the same, those people in cloaks. He found it a lot harder to concentrate on drills. That afternoon, when he left the building at 5 o'clock, he was still so worried that he walked straight into someone just outside the door. สวัสดีคุณยูริคารีนะคะจะเข้าสู่สตรีมของเราวันนี้นะวันนี้เรามาอ่านแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์กันนะแล้วตอนแรกฉันบอกว่าฉันจะไม่พยายาม interrupt ที่ฉันอ่านแต่ว่านะโอเคมาต่อ Sorry, he grunted as the tiny old man stumbled and almost fell. It was a few seconds before Mr. Dursley realized that the man was wearing a violet cloak. He didn't seem at all upset at being almost knocked to the ground. On the contrary, his face split into a wide smile, and he said in a squeaky voice that made the passerby stare, "Don't be sorry, my dear sir, for nothing could upset me more today. Rejoice, for you know who has gone at last. Even muggles like yourself should be celebrating this happy, happy day." And the old man hugged Mr. Dursley around the middle and walked off. Mr. Dursley stood rude on the spot. He had been hugged by a complete stranger. He also thought he had been called a muggle. Whatever that was, he was rattled. He hurried to his car and set off home. hoping he was imagining things, which he had never hoped before, because he didn't approve of imagination. As he pulled into the driveway of number 4, the first thing he saw, and it didn't improve his mood, was the tabby cat he spotted that morning. It was now sitting on his garden wall. He was sure it was the same one. It had the same markings around its eye. "Shoo!" said Mr. Dursley loudly. The cat didn't move. It just gave him a stern look. Was this normal cat behavior? Mr. Dursley wondered. Trying to pull himself together, he let himself into the house. He was so determined not to mention anything to his wife. Mrs. Dursley had had a nice normal day. She told him over dinner all about Mrs. Next Door's problem with her daughter, and how Dudley had learned a new word, shan't. Mr. Dursley tried to act normally. When Dudley had been put to bed, he went into the living room in time to catch the last report on the evening news. And finally, bird watchers everywhere have reported that the nation's owl have been behaving very unusually today. Although owls normally hunt at night and are hardly ever seen in daylight, there have been hundreds of sightings of these birds flying in every direction since sunrise. Experts are unable to explain why the owls have suddenly changed their sleeping pattern. The news reader allowed himself a grin. Most mysterious, and now over to Jim McGuffin with the weather. Going to be any more showers of owls tonight, Jim? Well, Ted, said the weatherman, I don't know anything about that. But it's not only the owls that have been acting oddly today. Viewers as far apart as Kent, Yorkshire, and Dundee have been phoning in to tell me that instead of the rain I promised yesterday, they've had a downpour of shooting stars. Perhaps people have been celebrating bonfire night early. It's not until next week, folks. But I can promise a wet night tonight. Mr. Dursley sat frozen in his armchair, shooting stars all over Britain, owls flying by daylight, mysterious people in clothes all over the place, and a whisper about the Potters. Mrs. Dursley came into the living room carrying 2 cups of tea. It was no good. He'd have to say something to her. He cleared his throat nervously. Petunia, dear, you haven't heard from your sister lately, have you? As he had expected, Mrs. Dursley looked shocked and angry. After all, they normally pretended she didn't have a sister. No, she said sharply. Why? Funny stuff on the news, Mr. Dursley mumbled. Owls, shooting stars, and there were a lot of funny-looking people in town today. So? Snapped Mrs. Dursley. Well, I just thought maybe it was something to do with, her lot. Mrs. Dursley sipped her tea through pursed lips. Mr. Dursley wondered whether he dared tell her he'd heard the name Potter. He decided he didn't dare. Instead, he said as casually as he could, "Their son. He'd be about Dudley's age now, wouldn't he?" "I suppose so," said Mrs. Dursley stiffly. What's his name again? Howard, isn't it?" "Harry. Nasty common name, if you ask me." "Oh, yes," said Mr. Dursley, his heart sinking horribly. "Yes, I quite agree." He didn't say another word on the subject as they went upstairs to bed. While Mrs. Dursley was in the bathroom, Mr. Dursley crept to the bedroom window and peered down into the front garden. The cat was still there. It was staring down the Privet Drive, as though it was waiting for something. Was he imagining things? Could all this have anything to do with Potters? If it did, if it got out that they were related to a pair of... Well, he didn't think he could bear it. The Dursley got into bed. Mrs. Dursley fell asleep quickly, but Mr. Dursley lay awake, turning it all over in his mind. His last comforting thought before he fell asleep was that even if the Potters were involved, there was no reason for them to come near him and Mrs. Dursley. The Potters knew very well what he and Petunia thought about them and their kind. He couldn't see how he and Petunia could get mixed up in anything like that. He yawned and turned over. It couldn't affect him. How very wrong he was. Mr. Dursley might have been drifting into an uneasy sleep, but the cat on the wall outside was showing no sign of sleepiness. It was sitting as still as a statue, its eye fixed unblinkingly on the far corner of Privet Drive. It didn't so much as quiver when a car door slammed in the next street, nor when 2 owls swooped overhead. In fact, it was nearly midnight before the cat moved at all. A man appeared on the corner the cat had been watching, appeared so suddenly and silently you'd have thought he just popped out of the ground. The cat's tail twitched and its eyes narrowed. Nothing like this man had ever been seen in Privet Drive. He was tall, thin, and very old, judging by the silver of his hair and beard, which were both long enough to tuck into his belt. He was wearing long robes, a purple cloak which swept the ground, and high-heeled, buckled boots. His blue eyes were light, bright, and sparkling behind half-moon spectacles, and his nose was very long and crooked, as though it had been broken at least twice. This man's name was Albus Dumbledore. Albus Dumbledore didn't seem to realize that he had just arrived in a street where everything from his name to his boots was unwelcome. He was busy rummaging in his cloak, looking for something, but he did seem to realize he was being watched, because he looked up suddenly at the cat, which was still staring at him from the other end of the street. For some reason, the sight of the cat seemed to amuse him. He chuckled and muttered, "I should have known." He had found what he was looking for inside his pocket. It seemed to be a silver cigarette lighter. He flicked it open, held it up in the air and clicked it. The nearest street lamp went out with a little pop. He clicked it again, the next lamp flickered into darkness. 12 times he clicked the put outer, until the only lights left in the whole street were two tiny pinpricks in the distance, which were the eyes of the cat watching him. If anyone looked out their window now, even beady-eyed Mrs. Dursley, they wouldn't be able to see anything that was happening down on the pavement. Dumbledore slipped the put-outer back inside his cloak and set off down the street towards number 4, where he sat down on the wall next to the cat. He didn't look at it, but after a moment he spoke to it. "Fancy seeing you here, Professor McGonagall." He turned to smile at the tabby, but it had gone. Instead, he was smiling at a rather severe-looking woman who was wearing square glasses exactly the shape of the markings the cat had round its eye. She too was wearing a cloak, an emerald one. Her black hair was drawn into a tight bun. She looked distinctly ruffled. "How do you know it was me?" she asked. "My dear professor, I've never seen a cat sit so stiffly." "You'd be stiff too if you'd been sitting on a brick wall all day," said Professor McGonagall. "All day? When you could have been celebrating? I must have passed a dozen feasts and parties on my way here." Professor McGonagall sniffed angrily. "Oh yes, everyone's celebrating, all right," she said impatiently. "You'd think they'd be a bit more careful, but no, even the Muggles have noticed something's going on. It was on their news." She jerked her head back at the Dursleys' dark living room window. "I heard it. Flocks of owls, shooting stars. Well, they're not completely stupid. They were bound to notice something. Shooting stars down in Kent. I'll bet that was Daedalus Diggle. He'd never had much sense." "You can't blame them," said Dumbledore gently. "We've had precious little to celebrate for 11 years. "I know that," said Professor McGonagall irritably. "But there's no reason to lose our head. People are being downright careless, out on the street in broad daylight, not even dressed in Muggle clothes, swapping rumors." She threw a sharp sideways glance at Dumbledore here, as though hoping he was going to tell her something, but he didn't, so she went on. "A fine thing would be if, on the very day you-know-who seems to have disappeared at last, the Muggles found out about us all. I suppose he really has gone, Dumbledore?" "It certainly seems so," said Dumbledore. "We have much to be thankful for. Would you care for a sherbet lemon?" "A what?" "A sherbet lemon. They're a kind of Muggle sweet I'm rather fond of." "No, thank you," said Professor McGonagall coldly, as though she didn't think this was the moment for sherbet lemons. "As I say, even if you know who has gone, my dear Professor, surely a sensible person like yourself can call him by his name. All this you-know-who nonsense for 11 years? I have been trying to persuade people to call him by his proper name, Voldemort." Professor McGonagall flinched, but Dumbledore, who was unsticking 2 sherbet lemons, seemed not to notice. "It all gets so confusing if we keep saying you-know-who. I have never seen any reason to be frightened of saying Voldemort's name. I know you haven't, said Professor McGonagall, sounding half exasperated, half admiring. But you're different. Everyone knows you're the only one you know. Oh, alright. Voldemort was frightened off. You flatter me, said Dumbledore calmly. Voldemort had powers I will never even have. Only because you're too, well, noble to use them. It's lucky it's dark. I haven't blushed so much since Madame Pomfrey told me she liked my new earmuffs. Professor McGonagall shot a sharp look at Dumbledore and said, The owls are nothing to the rumors that are flying around. You know what everyone's saying? About why he's disappeared? About what finally stopped him? It seems that Professor McGonagall had reached the point where she was most anxious to discuss the real reason she had been waiting on the cold hard wall all day, for neither as a cat nor as a woman had she fixed Dumbledore with such piercing stare as she did now. It was plain that whatever everyone was saying, she was not going to believe it until Dumbledore told her it was true. Dumbledore, however, was choosing another sherbet lemon and did not answer. What they're saying, she pressed on, is that last night Voldemort turned up in Godric's Hollow. He went to find the Potters. The rumor that is that Lily and James Potter are that they're dead. Dumbledore bowed his head. Professor McGonagall gasped. Lily and James. I can't believe it. I didn't want to believe it. Oh, Albus. Dumbledore reached out and patted her on the shoulder. I know, he said heavily. Professor McGonagall's voice trembled as she went on. That's not all. They're saying he tried to kill the Potter's son, Harry, but he couldn't. He couldn't kill that little boy. No one knows why or how, but they're saying that when he couldn't kill Harry Potter, Voldemort's power somehow broke, and that's why he's gone. Dumbledore nodded glumly. It's true? Faltered Professor McGonagall. After all he's done, all the people he's killed, he couldn't kill a little boy? It's just astounding. Of all the things to stop him. But how come in the name of heaven did Harry survive? We can only guess, said Dumbledore. We may never know. Professor McGonagall pulled out a lace handkerchief and dabbed her eyes beneath her spectacles. Dumbledore gave a great sniff as he took a golden watch from his pocket and examined it. It was a very odd watch. It had 12 hands but no numbers. Instead, little planets were moving around the edge. It must have made sense to Dumbledore though, because he put it back in his pocket and said, Hagrid's late. I suppose it was he who told you I'd be here, by the way. Yes, said Professor McGonagall. And I don't suppose you're going to tell me why you're here, of all places? I've come to bring Harry to his aunt and uncle. They're the only family he has left now. You can't mean the people who live here? Cried Professor McGonagall, jumping to her feet and pointing at number 4. Dumbledore, you can't. I've been watching them all day. You couldn't find 2 people who are less like us, and they've got this son. I saw him kicking his mother all the way up the street, screaming for sweets. Harry Potter come live here? It's the best place for him, said Dumbledore firmly. His aunt and uncle will be able to explain everything to him when he's older. I've written them a letter. A letter? Repeated Professor McGonagall faintly, sitting back down on the wall. Really, Dumbledore? You think you can explain all this in a letter? These people would never understand him. He'll be famous, a legend. I wouldn't be surprised if today was known as Harry Potter Day in the future. There will be books written about Harry. Every child in the world would know his name. Exactly, said Dumbledore, looking very seriously over the top of his half-moon glasses. It will be enough to turn any boy's head, famous before he can walk and talk, famous for something he won't even remember. Can't you see how much better off he'll be, growing up away from all that until he's ready to take it? Professor McGonagall opened her mouth, changed her mind, swallowed, and then said, Yes, you're right. Of course. But how is the boy getting here, Dumbledore? She eyed his cloak subtly as though she thought he might be hiding Harry underneath it. Hagrid's bringing him. You think it's wise to trust Hagrid with something as important as this? I would trust Hagrid with my life, said Dumbledore. I'm not saying his heart isn't in the right place, said Professor McGonagall grudgingly. but you can't pretend he's not careless. He does tend to... what was that? A low rumbling sound had been broken the silence around them. It grew steadily louder as they looked up and down the street for some sign of a headlight. It swelled to a roar as they both looked up at the sky, and a huge motorbike fell out of the air and landed on the road in front of them. If the motorbike was huge, it was nothing to the man sitting astride it. He was almost twice as tall as a normal man, and at least 5 times as wide. He looked simply too big to be allowed, and so wild, long tangles of bushy black hair and beard hid most of his face. He had hands the size of dustbin lids, and his feet in leather boots were likely baby dolphins. In his vast, muscular arms he was holding a bundle of blankets. "Hagrid," said Dumbledore, sounding relieved. "At last. And where did you get the motorbike?" "Borrowed it, Professor Dumbledore, sir," said the giant, climbing carefully off the motorbike as he spoke. "Young Siriusback lent it me. I got him, sir." "No problems were there?" "No, sir. House was almost destroyed, but I got him out right before the muggles started swarming around. He fell asleep as we was flying over Bistro." Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall bent forward over the bundle of blankets inside. Just visible was the baby boy, fast asleep under a tuft of jet-black hair over his forehead. They could see a curiously shaped cut, like a bolt of lightning. "Is that where?" whispered Professor McGonagall. "Yes," said Dumbledore. "He'll have that scar forever." "Couldn't you do something about it, Dumbledore?" "Even if I could, I wouldn't. Scars can come in useful. I have one myself above my left knee, which is a perfect map of London on the ground. Well, give him here, Hagrid. We'd better get this over with." Dumbledore took Harry in his arm and turned towards the Dursleys' house. Could I say goodbye to him, sir?" asked Hagrid. He bent his great shaggy head over Harry and gave him what must have been a very scratchy, whiskery kiss. Then suddenly, Hagrid let out a howl like a wounded dog. "Shh!" hissed Professor McGonagall. "You wake the muggles." "Sorry," sobbed Hagrid, taking out a large spotted handkerchief and burying his face in it. "But I can't stand it. Lily and James dead, and poor little Harry off to live with muggles." Yes, it's always sad. Better get a grip on yourself, Hagrid, or we'll be found," Professor McGonagall whispered, patting Hagrid gingerly on the arms as Dumbledore stepped over the low garden wall and walked to the front door. He laid Harry gently on the doorstep, took a letter out of his cloak, tucked it inside Harry's blanket, and then came back to the other two. For a full minute, the 3 of them stood and looked at the little bundle. Hagrid's shoulders shook. Professor McGonagall blinked fiercely, and the twinkling light that usually shone from Dumbledore's eyes seemed to have gone out. "Well," said Dumbledore finally, "that's that. We have no business staying here. We may as well go and join the celebration." "Yeah," said Hagrid in a very muffled voice. "I'd best get this bike away. Good night, Professor McGonagall, Professor Dumbledore, sir." Wiping his streaming eyes on his jacket sleeve, Hagrid swung himself onto the motorbike and kicked the engine into life. With a roar, it rose into air and off into the night. "I shall see you soon, I expect, Professor McGonagall," said Dumbledore, nodding to her. Professor McGonagall blew her nose in reply. Dumbledore turned and walked back down the street. On the corner, he stopped and took out the silver put-outer. He clicked on it once, and 12 balls of light sped back into the street lamp, so that Privet Drive glowed suddenly orange, and he could make out a tabby cat slinking around the corner at the other end of the street. He could just see the bundle of blankets on the step of number 4. "Good luck, Harry," he murmured. He turned on his heel, and with a swish of his cloak, he was gone. A breeze ruffled the neat hedges of Privet Drive, which lay silent and tidy under the inky sky, the very last place you would expect astonishing things to happen. Harry Potter rolled overside in his blanket without waking up. One small hand closed on the letter beside him as he slept on. not knowing why he was special, not knowing he was famous, not knowing he would be woken in a few hours' time by Mrs. Dursley's scream as she opened the front door to put out the milk bottles, knowing that he would spend the next few weeks being prodded and pinched by his cousin Dudley. He couldn't know that at this very moment, people meeting in secrets all over the country were holding up their glasses and saying in hushed voice, "To Harry Potter, the boy who lived." โอ้ไม่น่าเชื่อว่าฉันใช้เวลาอ่าน chapter 1 ไป40 นาที โอ้ my god โอเคแฮร์รี่เป็นผู้หญิงเป็นผู้หญิงยังไงมาไงคะเนี่ยโอเคนะขอพักหายใจสักครู่แล้วเดี๋ยวเรามาอ่าน chapter 2 กันนะฉันดูทรงแล้วน่าจะทำซีรีส์ในยาวๆถ้าฉันจะอ่านในครบ7 ภาคทรงเงี้ยขออนุญาตพักเสียงแป๊บนึงนะโอเค มาเถอะทุกคนเรามาอ่านต่อกันดีกว่าแล้วคือแบบฉันไม่อยากเชื่อว่าฉันใช้เวลาอ่านแค่ chapter แรกมี18 หน้าฉันอ่านไป40 นาทีโอ้โหเอาเถอะมาอ่านต่อกันดีกว่ามีใครอยากฟีดแบ็กอะไรไหมคะฉันอ่านเร็วไปไหมหรือว่าฉันอ่านผิดเยอะไปหน่อยหรือยังไงหรือว่าไมค์มันช็อตหรือยังไงตอนนี้อยากทราบฟีดแบ็กเพราะว่า ฉันอ่านมา40 นาทีแล้วรู้สึกวันนี้น่าจะได้แค่ไม่กี่ chapter มั้งทรงเนี้ยนะแซนบ็อกจะหลับแล้วไม่แต่อันนี้มันคือสตอรี่ไทม์มันก็เหมือนเล่านิทานก่อนนอนนั่นแหละนะหรือไม่ใช่ว่าคนดูคือฉันหลับหมดแล้วหรอเดี๋ยวนะไม่ช็อต chapter ยาวมากโอเคไม่ช็อตดีแล้ว chapter คือ chapter 1มันมีประมาณ20 หน้าไงแต่ chapter 1มี18 หน้าซึ่งฉันอ่านทีนึงไม่น่าเชื่อว่า chapter ใช้เวลาประมาณ40 นาทีแล้วชาติไหนมันจะจบแล้วยูริคาริก็ตีลังกาลงเตียงอีกแล้วนะคะวันนี้โนโซมิยังไม่มาเลยไปตามโนโซมิให้หน่อยสิใครก็ได้รู้สึกเงียบเหงานะมาค่ะเรามาอ่าน chapter 2 กันต่อดีกว่าเนาะเพื่อไม่ให้เสียเวลานะฉันขอดูก่อนว่า chapter 2 มีกี่หน้าจะได้คำนวณถูกchapter 2 มีแค่12 หน้านะใช่ chapter 2 มีแค่12 หน้าน่าจะแหมกูไม่น่ารีบพูดเลยสวัสดีคุณโนโซมินะคะเดี๋ยวเราเข้าสู่สตรีมของ CallistoSoCool ในวันนี้นะวันนี้เราจะมาอ่าน Harry Potter กันแหมพูดปุ๊บมาปั๊บเลยเหมือนเรียกผีนะคะมาเถอะอ่าน chapter 2 กันดีกว่านะมี12 หน้าน่าจะไม่นานมากนะ Chapter 2 The Vanishing Glass Nearly 10 years had passed since the Dursley had woken up to find their nephew on the front step, but Privet Drive had hardly changed at all. The sun rose on the same tidy front gardens and lit up the brass number 4 on the Dursley front door. It crept into the living room, which was almost exactly the same as it had been on the night when Mr. Dursley had seen that fateful news report about the owls. Only the photograph on the mantelpiece really showed how much time had passed. 10 years ago, there had been lots of pictures of what looked like a large pink beach ball wearing different colored bubble hats, but Dudley Dursley was no longer a baby. and now the photograph showed a large blond boy riding his first bicycle on a roundabout at the fair, playing a computer game with his father, being hugged and kissed by his mother. The room held no sign at all that another boy lived in the house too. Yet Harry Potter was still there, asleep at the moment, but not for long. His Aunt Petunia was awake, and it was her shrill voice which made the first noise of the day. Up! Get up now! Harry woke at the start. His aunt rapped at the door again. Up! She screeched. Harry heard her walking towards the kitchen and then the sound of frying pan being put on the cooker. He rolled on his back and tried to remember the dream he had been having. It had been a good one. There had been a flying motorbike on it. He had a funny feeling he'd had the same dream before. His aunt was back outside the door. Are you up yet? She demanded. Nearly, said Harry. Well, get a move on. I want you to look after the bacon. And don't you dare let it burn. I want everything perfect on Dudley's birthday. Harry groaned. What'd you say? His aunt snapped through the door. Nothing. Dudley's birthday. How could it be forgotten? Harry got slowly out of bed and started looking for socks. He found a pair under his bed, and after pulling a spider off one of them, put them on. Harry was used to spiders because the cupboard under the stairs was full of them, and that was where he slept. When he was dressed, he went down the hall into the kitchen. The table was almost hidden beneath all Dudley's birthday present. It looked as though Dudley had gotten the new computer he wanted, not to mention the second television and the racing bike. Exactly why Dudley wanted a racing bike was a mystery to Harry, as Dudley was very fat and hated exercise, unless of course it involved in punching somebody. Dudley's favorite punchbag was Harry, but he couldn't often catch him. Harry didn't look it, but he was very fast. Perhaps it had something to do with living in a dark cupboard. But Harry had always been small and skinny for his age. He looked even smaller and skinnier rather than he was, because all he had to wear were old clothes of Dudley's, and Dudley was about 4 times bigger than he was. Harry had a thin face, knobbly knees, black hair, and bright green eyes. He wore a round glass held together with a lot of sellotape, because of all times Dudley had punched him on the nose. The only thing Harry liked about his own appearance was a very thin scar on his forehead, which was shaped like a bolt of lightning. He had had it as long as he could remember, and the first question he could ever remember asking his Aunt Petunia was how he had got it. In the car crash when your parents die, she had said, and don't ask questions. Don't ask questions. That was the first rule for a quiet life with the Dursleys. Uncle Vernon entered the kitchen as Harry was turning over the bacon. Comb your hair, he barked, by way of a morning greeting. About once a week, Uncle Vernon looked over the top of his newspaper and shouted that Harry needed a haircut. Harry must have had more haircuts than the rest of the boys in his class put together, but it made no difference. His hair simply grew that way, all over the place. Harry was frying eggs by the time Dudley arrived in the kitchen with his mother. Dudley looked a lot like Uncle Vernon. He had a large pink face, not much neck, small watery blue eyes, and thick blonde hair that lay smoothly on his thick fat head. And Petunia often said that Dudley looked like a baby angel. Harry often said that Dudley looked like a pig in a wig. Yeah, whatever. Harry put the plates of eggs and bacon on the table, which was difficult as there wasn't much room. Dudley, meanwhile, was counting his present. His face fell. 36, he said, looking up at his mother and father. That's 2 less than last year. Darling, you haven't counted Auntie March's present. See, it's on the right, this big one from Mommy and Daddy. Alright, 37 then, said Dudley, going red in the face. Harry, who could see a huge Dudley tantrum coming on, began wolfing down his bacon as fast as possible in case Dudley turned the table over. And Petunia obviously sensed danger too, because she said quickly, "And we'll buy you another 2 presents while we're out today. How's that, Pumpkin? 2 more presents. Is that alright?" Dudley thought for a moment. It looked like hard work. Finally, he said slowly, "So I'll have 39, sweetums," said Aunt Petunia. "Oh." Dudley sat down heavily and grabbed the nearest parcel. "Alright then." Uncle Vernon chuckled. Little Tyke won his money's worth, just like his father. Attaboy, Dudley. He ruffled Dudley's hair. At that moment, the telephone rang and Aunt Petunia went to answer it while Harry and Uncle Vernon watched Dudley unwrap the racing bike, a cine camera, a remote control, aeroplane, 16 new computer games, and a video recorder. He was ripping the paper off a gold wristwatch when Aunt Petunia came back from the telephone, looking both angry and worried. Bad news, Vernon, she said. Mrs. Fig broken her leg. She can take him. She jerked her head in Harry's direction. Dudley's mouth fell open in horror, but Harry's heart gave a leap. Every year on Dudley's birthday, his parents took him and a friend out for the day to adventure parks, hamburgers bar, or the cinema. Every year, Harry was left behind with Mrs. Fig, a mad old lady who lived 2 streets away. Harry hated it there. The whole house smelled of cabbage, and Mrs. Fig made him look at photographs of all the cats she ever owned. "Now what?" said Aunt Petunia, looking furiously at Harry as though he'd planned this. Harry knew he ought to feel sorry that Mrs. Fig had broken her leg, but it wasn't easy when he reminded himself it would be a whole year before he had to look at Tibble, Snowy, Mr. Paws, and Tufty again. "We could phone Marsh," Uncle Vernon suggested. "Don't be silly, Vernon. She hates the boy." The Dursley often spoke about Harry like this, as though he wasn't there, or rather, as though he was something very nasty that couldn't understand them, like a slug. "What about, what's her name, your friend Yvonne? On holiday in Majorca," snapped Aunt Petunia. "You could just leave me here," Harry put in hopefully. He'd been able to watch what he wanted on television for a change and even go on Dudley's computer. Aunt Petunia looked as though she just swallowed a lemon. "And come back finding the house in ruins," she snarled. "I won't blow up the house," said Harry, but they weren't listening. "I suppose we can take him to the zoo," said Aunt Petunia slowly, "and leave him in the car. That car's new, he's not singing alone." Dudley began to cry loudly. In fact, he wasn't really crying. It had been years since he really cried, but he knew that if he screwed up his face and wailed, his mother would give him anything he wanted. "Dinky Duddy Dums, don't cry. Mommy won't let him spoil your special day," she cried, flinging her arms around him. "I don't want him to come," Dudley yelled between huge pretend sobs. "He always spoils everything." He shot Harry a nasty grin through the gap of his mother's arm. Just then, the doorbell rang. "Oh, good Lord, they're here," said Aunt Petunia frantically, and a moment later, Dudley's best friend, Piers Polkiss, walked in with his mother. Piers was a scrawny boy with a face like a rat. He was usually the one who held people's arms behind their backs while Dudley hit them. Dudley stopped pretending to cry at once. Half an hour later, Harry, who couldn't believe his luck, was sitting in the back of the Dursley cars with Piers and Dudley. On the way to the zoo for the first time in his life, his aunt and uncle hadn't been able to think of anything else to do with him, but before they left, Uncle Vernon had taken Harry aside. "I'm warning you," he had said, putting his large purple face right up close to Harry. "I'm warning you now, boy. Any funny business, anything at all, and you'll be in the cupboard from now until Christmas." "I'm not going to do anything," said Harry, honestly, but Uncle Vernon didn't believe him. No one ever did. The problem was, strange things often happened around Harry, and it was just no good telling the Dursley he didn't make them happen. Once, Aunt Petunia, tired of Harry coming back from the barber's looking as though he had been at all, had taken a pair of kitchen scissors and cut his hair so short she was almost bald except for his fringe, which she left to hide that horrible scar. Dudley had laughed himself silly at Harry, who spent a sleepless night imagining the school next day, where he was already laughing for his baggy clothes and the cello-taped glass. Next morning, however, he had got up to find his hair exactly as it had been before Aunt Petunia had sheared it off. He had been given a week in his cupboard for this, even though he had tried to explain that he couldn't explain how it had grown back so quickly. Another time, Aunt Petunia had been trying to force him into a revolving old jumper of Dudley's, brown with orange bubbles. The harder she tried to pull it over his head, the smaller it seemed to have become, until it finally might have fit a glove puppet, but certainly wouldn't fit Harry. Aunt Petunia had decided it must have shrunk and washed, and to his great relief, Harry wasn't punished. On the other hand, he got into terrible trouble for being found on the roof of the school's kitchen. Dudley's gang and has been chasing him as usual, when much to Harry's surprise. Anyone else, there was sitting on the chimney. The Dursley had received a very angry letter from Harry's headmistress telling them Harry had been climbing the school buildings, but all he tried to do, as he shouted at Uncle Vernon through the locked door of his cupboard, was jump behind the big bins outside the kitchen doors. Harry supposed that the wind must have caught him mid-jump. But today, nothing was going to go wrong. It was even worth being with Dudley and Pierce to be spending that day somewhere that wasn't school, his cupboard, or Mrs. Figg's cabbage-smelling living room. While he drove, Uncle Vernon complained to Aunt Petunia. He liked to complain about things. People at work, Harry, the council, the bank, and Harry just feel of his favorite subject. This morning, it was motorbikes, roaring along like maniacs, the young hoodlums, he said as a motorbike overtook them. I had a dream about motorbike, said Harry, remembering. Suddenly, it was flying. Uncle Vernon nearly crashed into the car in front. He turned right around his seat and yelled at Harry, his face like a gigantic beetroot with a mustache. Motorbikes don't fly. Dudley and Pierce sniggled. I know they don't, said Harry. It was only a dream. But he wished he hadn't said anything. If there was one thing the Dursley hated even more than asking question, it was his talking about anything acting in a way it shouldn't. No matter if it was in a dream or even a cartoon, they seemed to think that he might get dangerous idea. It was a very sunny Saturday, and the zoo was crowded with families. The Dursley bought Dudley and Pierce a large chocolate ice cream at the entrance. And then, because the smiling lady in the van had asked Harry what he wanted before they could hurry him away, they bought him a cheap lemon ice lolly. It wasn't bad either, Harry thought, licking it as they watched a gorilla scratching his head and looking remarkably like Dudley, except that it wasn't blonde. Harry had the best morning he had in a long time. He was careful to take a walk a little way apart from the Dursley so that Dudley and Pierce, who was starting to get bored with the animals by lunchtime, wouldn't fall back on their favorite hobby of hitting him. They ate in the zoo restaurant, and when Dudley had a tantrum because his Knickerbocker glory wasn't big enough, Uncle Vernon bought him another one, and Harry was allowed to finish the first. Harry felt afterwards that he should have known it was all too good to last. After lunch, they went to Reptile House. It was cool and dark in here, with lift windows along the walls. Behind the glass, all sorts of lizards and snakes were crawling and slithering over bits of wood and stone. Dudley and Pierce wanted to see huge poisonous cobra and thick man crushing pythons. Dudley quickly found the largest snake in the place. It could have wrapped its body twice around Uncle Vernon's car and crushed it into a dustbin. But at the moment, it didn't look in the mood. In fact, it was fast asleep. Dudley stood with his nose pressed against the glass, staring at the glistening brown coils. Make it move, he whined at his father. Uncle Vernon tapped on the glass, but the snake didn't budge. Do it again, Dudley ordered. Uncle Vernon rapped the glass smartly with his knuckles, but the snake had just snoozed on. This is boring, Dudley moaned. He shuffled away. Harry moved in front of the tank and looked intently at the snake. He wouldn't have been surprised if it had died of boredom itself. No company except stupid people drumming their fingers on the glass trying to disturb it all day long. It was worse than having a cupboard as a bedroom, where only visitor was Aunt Petunia hammering on the door to wake you up. At least he got to visit the rest of the house. The snake suddenly opened his beady eyes. Slowly, very slowly, it raised its head until its eyes were on a level with Harry. It winked. Harry stared. Then he looked quickly around to see if anyone was watching. They weren't. He looked back at the snake and it winked too. The snake jerked its head towards Uncle Vernon and Dudley, then raised its eyes to the ceiling. It gave Harry a look, then said quite plainly, I get that all the time. I know, Harry murmured through the glass, though he wasn't sure the snake could hear him. It must be really annoying. The snake nodded vigorously. Where do you come from anyway? Harry asked. The snake jabbed its tail at the little sign next to the glass. Harry parroted. Boa constrictor, Brazil. Was it nice there? The boa constrictor jabbed its tail at the sign again, and Harry read on. The specimen was bred in the zoo. Oh, I see. So you've never been to the Brazil? As the snake shook his head, a deafening shout behind Harry made both of them jump. Dudley, Mr. Dursley, come and look at the snake. You won't believe what it's doing. Dudley came waddling over them as fast as he could. Out of the way, you, he said, punching Harry in the ribs. Caught by surprise, Harry fell hard on the concrete floor. What came next happened so fast no one saw how it happened. 1 second, Pierce and Dudley were leaning right up close to the glass. The next, they had leapt back with howls of horror. Harry sat up and gasped. The glass front of the boa constrictor's tank had vanished. The great snake was uncoiling itself rapidly, slithering out onto the floor. People throughout the reptile house screamed and started running for the exit. As the snake slid swiftly past him, Harry could have sworn a low, hissing voice said, Brazil, here I come. Thanks, amigo. The keeper of the reptile house was in shock. But the glass, he kept saying, where'd it go? The zoo director himself made Aunt Petunia a cup of strong sweet tea while he apologized over and over again. Pierce and Dudley could only gibber as far as Harry had seen. The snake hadn't done anything except snap playfully at their heels as it passed. But by the time they were all back in Uncle's Vernon car, Dudley was telling how it had nearly bitten off his leg, while Pierce was swearing it had tried to squeeze him to death. But worst of all, for Harry at least, was Pierce calming down enough to say, Harry was talking to it, weren't you, Harry? Uncle wouldn't wait until Pierce was safely out of the house before starting on Harry. He was so angry that he could hardly speak. He meant to say, go, cupboard, say, no meals, before he collapsed into a chair and Aunt Petunia had to run to get him a large brandy. Harry lay in his dark cupboard much later, wishing he had a watch. He didn't know what time it was until he couldn't be sure the Dursley were asleep yet. Until they were, he couldn't risk sneaking into the kitchen for some food. He lived with the Dursley almost 10 years, 10 miserable years, as long as he could remember. Ever since he had been a baby and his parents had died in that car crash, he couldn't remember being in a car while his parents died. Sometimes, when he strained his memories during long hours in his cupboard, he came up with a strange vision, a blinding flash of green light and a burning pain on his forehead. This, he supposed, was the crash, though he couldn't imagine where all the green light came from. He couldn't remember his parents at all. His aunt and uncle never spoke about them, and of course he was forbidden to ask questions. There were no photographs of them in the house. When he had been younger, Harry had dreamed a dream of some unknown relation coming to take him away. But it had never happened. The Dursley were his only family, yet sometimes he thought, or maybe hoped, that strangers in the street seemed to know him. Very strange strangers. They were, too. A tiny man in a violet top had bowed to him once while out shopping with Aunt Petunia and Dudley. After asking Harry fiercely if he knew the man, Aunt Petunia had rushed them out of the shop without buying anything. A wild-looking old woman dressed in all green had waved merrily at him once on the bus. A bald man in a very long purple coat had actually shaken his hand in the street the other day and then walked away without a word. The weirdest thing about all these people was the way they seemed to vanish the second Harry tried to get a closer look. At school, Harry had no one. Everybody knew that Dudley's gang hated that odd Harry Potter in his baggy old clothes and broken glass, and nobody liked to disagree with Dudley's gang. และก็จบ chapter 2 สักที โอ้ย ฉันรู้สึกว่าฉันเริ่มอ่านผิดเยอะแล้วสรุปเวลา2ชั่วโมงนะคะดิฉันใช้เวลาอ่านไปในเวลา1ชั่วโมงเนี่ยฉันอ่านไปได้2 chapter นะขอพักเหนื่อยแป๊บนึงนะโอเคอะไรนะไม่ได้ฟังไม่คือฉันบอกว่าฉันใช้เวลาอ่าน2บทคือ2 chapter ฉันใช้เวลาอ่านไป1ชั่วโมงนะนี่แอบหึงนี่นาฮะ อะไรโนโซมิ ผมไปหึงคุณตอนไหนอะไรคุณอย่ามามั่วและฉันเพิ่งนึกได้ว่าฉันยังไม่ได้ทำดูลิงโก้เลยขออนุญาตแว็บไปทำดูลิงโก้ก่อนนะเพราะว่าฉันน่าจะอ่านอีกยาวๆเลยแหละนะถือว่าเป็นการพักคอด้วยเพราะรู้สึกว่าฉันอ่านมาเยอะมากนะแอบเหนื่อยใครจะไปรู้ว่าการนั่งอ่านหนังสือนี่มันจะเหนื่อยขนาดนี้คือถ้าเราอ่านเฉยๆไม่ได้ออกเสียงมันไม่เหนื่อยหรอกแต่คือเราอ่านออกเสียงเนี่ยมันก็เหนื่อยนะรู้สึกวันนี้คนน้อยจัง ถ้าเดาจากเวลาเราน่าจะอ่านได้ วันนี้อยากอ่านให้ได้สักประมาณ5 chapter อ่ะอันนี้ที่ฉันตั้งเป้าของฉันไว้นะอยากได้สักประมาณ5 chapter แล้วก็เหลืออีก3 chapter เนาะโอเคโอ้ยคอฉันฉันเก็บไฟในดูเลนโก้ฉันได้475 วันแล้วโอเคถ้าอย่างนั้นเราอ่าน chapter 3ต่อเลยไหมหรือมีใครมีฟีดแบ็กอะไรอยากพูดคุยกับเราไหมเพราะเราจะได้ตอบทีเดียวก่อนที่เราจะอ่าน chapter 3ต่อนะเพราะเรารู้สึกว่าแบบไอ้นี่น่ารักฟีดแบ็กแบบใดฟีดแบ็กก็ขอบคุณที่ชมนะคะเราน่ารักอยู่แล้วแหละโอ้ยขำตัวเองว่ะตอนนี้ฉันรู้สึกเหนื่อยคอฉันยังไม่อยากอ่าน chapter 3ต่อฉันยังไม่อยากอ่าน chapter 3ต่อฉันเริ่มเหนื่อยคอแล้วอะคือพอเราอ่านหนังสือมาเป็นชั่วโมงอะแล้วเราอ่านออกเสียงมันเหนื่อยอะขนาดฉันนั่งอยู่เฉยๆแล้วฉันอ่านนะ What is the context of live stream ฮะหมายถึงยังไงคะ context พี่พิมพ์ภาษาไทยก็ได้นะคะไม่ก็คือคอนเทกต์นี้คือเราอ่านนิยายไงนะแต่คือตอนเนี้ยฉันอ่านมาชั่วโมงนึงฉันรู้สึกเริ่มเหนื่อยคอเมื่อยคอความที่เราอ่านออกเสียงไงฉันก็เริ่มเหนื่อยนะขออนุญาตพักอีกสักพักหนึ่งแล้วกันพอรู้สึกว่ามันดูค่อนข้างเงียบเหงามากใช่คือเลสตินเนี้ยเราเป็นการอ่านนิยายมันก็เหมือนเป็นการเล่านิทานนั่นแหละเพราะเราเอานิยายก็คือแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์มาอ่านให้ทุกคนฟังนะก็คือเป็นการเปิดซีรีส์ใหม่นั่นแหละก็ถือว่าเป็นการทดลองตลาดว่าถ้าสมมติว่าฉันทำสั้นไลฟ์สตรีมแบบเนี้ยมันจะรุ่งไหมอย่างนี้อยากรู้ว่ามันจะไปรอดไหมนะแต่คือมันก็เป็นอีกหนึ่งในคอนเทนต์ที่อยากจะทำอยู่แล้วไงเพราะว่าความที่ฉันเป็นฉันแต่งตั้งตัวเองเป็น V writer นะเราแต่งนิยายเราก็ต้องอ่านนิยายด้วยให้มันเอาครบทุกศาสตร์ไปเลยนะก็ประมาณนั้นว่าทำไมเราถึงเออ ว่าทำไมเราถึงเลือก มาทำซีรีส์นี้นะก็คือตอนเนี้ยฉันยังเหนื่อยอยู่เลยคุณเธอแป๊บนึงนะโอ้ยใจเย็นไม่กี่ตัวฉันตาลอยได้น่ากลัวมากถูกแล้วโอเคเมื่อกี้ฉันตั้งเวลานี่อยู่นะฉันควรอ่านต่อเลยดีไหมฉันควรอ่านต่อเลยดีปะหรือว่าเราบิดดีไหมเราเปลี่ยนไปทำคอนเทนต์อื่นบ้างเลยไม่ได้สิเราอุตส่าห์ตั้งใจมาทำอ่านนิยายเราก็ต้องทำอ่านนิยายนะคะเราจะบิดทำคอนเทนต์อื่นไม่ได้มันจะไม่ตรงจุดประสงค์นะทุกคนยิ่งรู้อยู่ว่าฉันเป็นคนรักษาสัญญารักษาคำพูดนะเราจะเปลี่ยนไปทำคอนเทนต์อื่นมันก็ไกลอยู่นะฉันควรอ่านชัปเตอร์3ต่อเลยดีไหมคือตอนนี้ฉันยังเหนื่อยอยู่เลยอะแป๊บนึงขอดูก่อนชัปเตอร์3มีกี่หน้าชัปเตอร์3มี16หน้า16หน้าก็ไม่ค่อยเท่าไหร่นะหรือเปล่าเราอ่านต่อเลยไหมเป็นกำลังใจทำต่อไปขอบคุณกำลังใจจากคุณโนโซมีนะคะแต่ถ้าได้เป็นกำลังใจผ่านทิปมีจะรู้สึกดีใจมากนะเรารอวันที่โนโซมิเปเราอยู่นะคือฉันพูดอย่างนี้ทุกไลฟ์อ่ะโนโซมิอยู่ไลฟ์เนี่ยฉันได้นี่หมดนะเราอ่าน chapter 3กันต่อดีกว่าเนาะมันจะได้จบไปเพราะว่าเราบอกว่าเราจะอ่าน3 chapter นะวันนี้ไม่3 chapter ดิ5 chapter นะเพราะว่าเดี๋ยวแป๊บนึงนะเพราะว่า Harry Potter ภาคแรกอ่ะมันมีกี่ chapter นะขอย้อนดูก่อนมีทั้งหมด17 chapter ถ้าเราอ่านไป5ก็น่าจะใช้ประมาณ3รอบนี่แหละถ้า chapter หลังฉันขยันอ่านนะประมาณ 3-4 รอบก็ถ้าเอาไปครบ7ภาคก็น่าจะปาไปไหลอาจจะมี100 EP หรือเปล่าไม่มั่นใจนะคิดว่าไปแล้วยูริไม่ว่าตัวข้าจะมุ่งไปที่ใดที่นั่นก็ล้วนคือเส้นทางค่ะโอเคงั้นเราอ่าน chapter 3กันต่อดีกว่าเลยเนาะมานะคะ Chapter 3 The Letters from No One The escape of the Brazilian boa constrictor earned Harry his longest ever punishment. By the time he was allowed out of his cupboard again, the summer holidays have started, and Dudley had already broken his new Zenith camera, crashed his remote control aeroplane, and first time on his racing bike, knocked down old Mrs. Figg as she crossed Privet Drive on her crutches. Harry was glad school over, but there was no escaping Dudley's gang, who visited the house every single day. Pierce, Dennis, Malcolm, and Gordon were all big and stupid. But as Dudley was the biggest and the stupidest of the lot, he was the leader. The rest of them were all quite happy to join in Dudley's favorite sport, Harry hunting. This was why Harry spent as much time as possible out of the house, wandering around and thinking about the end of holidays, where he could see a tiny ray of hope. When September came, he would be going off to secondary school. And for the first time in his life, he wouldn't be with Dudley. Dudley had a place at Vernon's old school. Smeltings, Pierce, Polkis was going there too. Harry, on the other hand, was going to Stonewall High, the local comprehensive. Dudley thought this was very funny. They stuffed people's heads down until the first day at Stonewall. He told Harry, "Want to come upstairs and practice?" "No thanks," said Harry. "The poor toilets never had anything as horrible as your head down it. It might be sick." Then he ran off before Dudley could work out what he said. One day in July, Aunt Petunia took Dudley to London to buy his smelting uniform, leaving Harry at Mrs. Figg. Mrs. Figg wasn't as bad as usual. It turned out she'd broken her leg tripping over one of her cats, and she didn't seem to quite as fond of them before. She let Harry watch television and gave him a bit of chocolate cake that tasted as though she had it for several years. That evening, Dudley paraded around the living room for the family in his brand new uniform. Smelting's boy wore maroon tailcoats, orange knickerbockers, and flat straw hats called boulders. They also carried knobby sticks used for hitting each other while the teachers weren't looking. This was supposed to be good training for later life. As he looked at Dudley in his new knickerbockers, Uncle Vernon said gruffly that it was the proudest moment of his life. Aunt Petunia burst into tears and said she couldn't believe it was her Echo Duddykins. He looked so handsome and grown up. Harry didn't trust himself to speak. He thought two of his ribs might already crack from trying not to laugh. There was a horrible smell in the kitchen next morning when Harry went in for breakfast. It seemed to coming from a large metal tub in the sink. He went to have a look. The tub was full of what looked like dirty rags swimming in grey water. "What's this?" he asked Aunt Petunia. Her lips tightened as they always did if he dared to ask a question. "Your new uniform," she said. Harry looked in the bowl again. "Oh," he said. "I didn't realize it had to be so wet." "Don't be stupid," snapped Aunt Petunia. "I'm dyeing some of Dudley Old Sting gray for you. It looked just like everyone else when I finished." Harry seriously doubted this, but though it's not best to argue, he sat back down at the table and tried not to think about how he was going to look on his first day at Stonewall High, like he was wearing bits of old elephant skin, probably. Dudley and Uncle Vernon came in, both with wrinkled noses because of the smell from Harry's new uniform. Uncle Vernon opened his newspaper as usual, and Dudley banged his smelting stick, which he carried everywhere, on the table. They heard the click of the letter blocks flopped letters on the doormat. "Get the post, Dudley," said Uncle Vernon from behind his paper. "Make Harry get it. Get the post, Harry. Make Dudley get it. Poke him with your smelting sticks, Dudley." Harry dodged the smelting sticks and went to the post. Three things lay on the doormat: a postcard from Uncle Vernon's sister, Marge, who was holidaying on the Isle of Wight, a brown envelope that looked like the bill, and a letter for Harry. Harry picked up and stared at it, his heart twanging like a giant elastic band. No one, ever in his whole life, had written to him. Who would? He had no friends, no other relatives. He didn't belong to the library, so he'd never even get rude notes asking for books back. Yet here it was, a letter addressed so plainly there could be no mistake. Mr. H. Potter, the cupboard under the stairs, 4 Perret Drive, Little Winging, Surrey. The envelope was thick and heavy, made of yellowish parchment, and the address was written in emerald green ink. There was no stamp. Turning the envelope over, his hand trembling, Harry saw a purple wax seal bearing coats of arms, a lion, an eagle, and a badger, and a snake, surrounding a large letter H. "Hurry up, boy!" shouted Uncle Vernon from the kitchen. "What are you doing? Checking for letter bombs?" He chuckled at his own joke. Harry went back to the kitchen. Still staring at his letter, he handed Uncle Vernon the bill and the postcard, sat down and slowly began to open the yellow envelope. Uncle Vernon ripped open the bill, snorted in disgust, and flipped over the postcard. "Marge is ill," he informed Aunt Petunia, ate a funny welk. "Dad," said Dudley suddenly, "Harry got something." Harry was on the point of unfolding his letter, which was written on the same heavy parchment as the envelope, when it was jerked sharply out of his hand by Uncle Vernon. "That's mine," said Harry, trying to snatch it back. "Who'd be writing to you?" sneered Uncle Vernon, shaking the letter open with one hand and glancing at it. His face went from red to green faster than the set of traffic lights. And it didn't stop there. Within seconds, it was grayish-white of old porridge. "Petunia!" he gasped. Dudley tried to grab the letter to read it, but Uncle Vernon held it high out of his reach. Aunt Petunia took it curiously and read the first line. For a moment, it looked as though she might faint. She clutched her throat, and it made a choking noise. "Vernon! Oh my goodness, Vernon!" They stared at each other, seeming to have forgotten that Harry and Dudley were still in the room. Dudley wasn't used to being ignored. He gave his father a sharp tap on the head with his smelting stick. "I want to read that letter," he said loudly. "I want to read it," said Harry furiously. "As is mine. Get out, both of you," crowed Uncle Vernon, stuffing the letter back inside its envelope. Harry didn't move. "I want my letter," he shouted. "Let me see it," demanded Dudley. "Out!" roared Uncle Vernon, and he took both Harry and Dudley by the scruff on their necks and threw them into this hall. slamming the kitchen door behind them. Harry and Dudley promptly had fierce but silent fight over who would listen to the keyhole. Dudley won, so Harry and his glasses dangled from one ear lay flat on his stomach to listen to the crack between the door and the floor. Vernon and Petunia was saying in a quivering voice, "Look at the address. How could they possibly know where he sleeps? You don't think they're watching the house?" "Watching, spying, might be following us," muttered Uncle Vernon wildly. "But what should we do, Vernon? Should we write back? Tell them we don't want..." Harry could see Uncle Vernon's shiny black shoes pacing up and down the kitchen. "No," he said finally. "No, we'll ignore it. If they don't get an answer, yes, that's best. We don't do anything. But I'm not having one in the house, Petunia. Didn't we swear we took him in with them out of that dangerous nonsense?" That evening when he got back from work, Uncle Vernon did something he had never done before. He visited Harry in his cupboard. "Where's my letter?" said Harry, the moment Uncle Vernon had squeezed through the door. "Who's writing to me?" "No one. It was addressed to you by mistake," said Uncle Vernon shortly. "I burned it." "It was not a mistake," said Harry angrily. "It had my cupboard on it." "Silence!" yelled Uncle Vernon, and a couple of spiders fell from the ceiling. He took a few deep breaths and then forced his face into a smile, which looked quite painful. Yes, Harry, about this cupboard, your aunt and I have been thinking it might be nice if you move into Dudley's second bedroom." "Why?" said Harry. "Don't ask questions," snapped his uncle. "Take the stuff upstairs now." The Dursley house had 4 bedrooms, one for Uncle Vernon and Petunia, one for visitors, usually Uncle Vernon's sisters Marge, one where Dudley slept, and one where Dudley kept all the toys and things that wouldn't fit into his first bedroom. It only took Harry one trip upstairs to move everything he owned from the cupboard to his room. He sat down on the bed and stared around him. Nearly everything in here was broken. The month-old cine camera was lying on top of a small working tank Dudley had once driven over next to a dog. In the corner was Dudley's first ever television set, which he had put his foot through where his favorite program had been cancelled. There was a large bird cage which had once held a parrot that Dudley had swapped at school for a real air rifle, which was up on a shelf with the end all bent because Dudley had sat on it. Other shelves were full of books. They were the only things in the room that looked as though they'd never been touched. From downstairs came the sound of Dudley bawling at his mother. "I don't want him in here. I need that room. Make him get out." Harry sighed and stretched out on the bed. Yesterday he had given anything to be up here. Today he'd rather be back in this cupboard with that letter than lying in here without it. Next morning at breakfast, everyone was rather quiet. Dudley was in shock. He screamed, whacked his father with his smelting stick, been sick on purpose, kicked his mother and thrown his tortoise through the greenhouse roof, and he still didn't have his room back. Harry was thinking about this time yesterday and bitterly wishing he'd opened the letter in the hall. Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia kept looking at each other darkly. When the post arrived, Uncle Vernon, who seemed to trying to be nice to Harry, made Dudley go and get it. They heard him banging things with his smelting sticks all the way down the hall. Then he shouted, "There's another one! Mr. H. Potter, the smallest bedroom, 4 Parade Drive." With a strangled cry, Uncle Vernon leapt from his seat and ran down the hall. Harry right behind him. Uncle Vernon had to wrestle Dudley to the ground and to get the letter from him, which was made difficult by the fact that Harry had grabbed Uncle Vernon around the neck from behind after a minute of confused fighting, in which everyone got hit a lot by the smelting stick. Uncle Vernon straightened up, gasping for breath, with Harry's letter clutched in his hand. "Go to your cupboard, go to your bedroom," he wheezed at Harry. "Dudley, go. Let's go." Harry walked around and round his new room. Someone knew he had moved out of his cupboard, and they seemed to know he hadn't received the first letter. Surely that meant they tried again? And this time he made sure they didn't fail. He had a plan. The repaired alarm clock rang at 6 o'clock the next morning. Harry turned up quickly and dressed silently. He mustn't wake the Dursley. He stole downstairs without turning on any of the lights. He was going to wait for the postman on the corner of the Parade Drive and get the letters from number 4 first. His heart hammered as he crept across the dark hall towards the front door. ฉันเปิดเลยหน้าซะแล้ว Harry leapt into the air. He ran into something big and squashy on the doormat. Something alive. Lights clicked on upstairs, and to his horror, Harry realized that the big squashy something had been Uncle's face. Uncle Vernon had been lying at the foot of the front door in a sleeping bag, clearly making sure that Harry didn't do exactly what he'd been trying to do. He shadowed Harry for about half an hour, then told him to go and make a cup of tea. Harry shuffled miserably and off into the kitchen, and by the time Uncle Vernon got back, Uncle Vernon, the post had arrived. Right into Uncle Vernon's lap, Harry could see 3 letters addressed in green ink. I want, he began, but Uncle Vernon was tearing the letters into pieces before his eyes. Uncle Vernon didn't go to work that day. He stayed at home and nailed up the letterbox. See, he explained to Aunt Petunia through a mouthful of nails. If they can't deliver them, they'll just give up. I'm not sure that will work, Vernon. Oh, these people's minds work in a strange way, Petunia. They're not like you and me, said Uncle Vernon, trying to knock in a nail with a piece of fruitcake Aunt Petunia had just brought him. On Friday, no fewer than 12 letters arrived for Harry. As they couldn't go through the letterbox, they had been pushed under the door, slotted through the sides, and even filled through small windows downstairs toilet. Uncle Vernon stayed home again. After burning all the letters, he got out a hammer and nails and boarded up all the cracks on the front and back doors so no one could go out. He hummed, tiptoed through the tulips as he worked, and jumped at small noises. On Saturday, things began to get out of hand. 24 letters to Harry's found their way into the house, rolled up, hidden inside each of the 2 dozen eggs. The very confused mailman had handed Aunt Petunia through the living room window, while Uncle Vernon made furious telephone calls to the post office and the dairy trying to find someone to complain to. Aunt Petunia shredded letters in her food mixer. Who on earth wants to talk to you this badly? Dudley asked Harry in amazement. On Sunday morning, Uncle Vernon sat down at breakfast table looking tired, rather ill, but happy. No post on Sunday, he reminded them happily as he spread marmalade on his newspaper. No damn letters today. Something came whizzing down the kitchen chimney as he spoke and caught him sharply on the back of the head. Next moment, 30 or 40 letters came pelting out of the fireplace like bullets. The Dursley ducked, but Harry leapt out in the air trying to catch one. Out! Out! Uncle Vernon seized Harry around the waist and threw him into the hall. When Aunt Petunia and Dudley had run out with their arms over their face, Uncle Vernon slammed the door shut. They could hear letters still streaming into the room, bouncing off walls and floors. That does it, said Uncle Vernon, trying to speak calmly but pulling great tufts out of his mustache at the same time. I want you all back here 5 minutes, ready to leave. We're going away. Just pack some clothes, no arguments. He looked so dangerous with half his mustache missing that no one dared argue. 10 minutes later, they had wrenched their way through the boarded doors, and they were in the car speeding towards the motorway. Dudley was sniffing in the back seat. His father had hit him around the head for holding them up while he tried to pack his television, videos, and computers in his sport bag. They drove and drove. Even Aunt Petunia didn't dare ask where they were going. Every now and then, Uncle Vernon would take a sharp turning and drive in the opposite direction for a while. Shake him off, he would mutter whenever he did this. They didn't stop to eat or drink all day. By nightfall, Dudley was howling. He never had such a bad day in his life. He was hungry. He missed 5 television programs he'd want to see, and he'd never gone so long without blowing up Alien his computer. Uncle Vernon stopped at last outside a gloomy-looking hotel on the outskirts of a big city. Dudley and Harry shared a room with twin beds and a damn musty sheet. Dudley snored, but Harry stayed awake, sitting on the windowsill and staring down at the lights passing car and wondering. They ate stale cornflakes and old cold tinned tomatoes on toast for breakfast next day. They had just finished the owner of the table. Excuse me, but this one of you, Mr. H. Potter? Only I got about 100 of these at the front desk. She held up a letter so they could read the green ink address. Mr. H. Potter, room 17, Railville Hotel, Cokeworth. Harry made a grab for the letter, but Uncle Vernon knocked his hand out of the way. The woman stared. I'll take them, said Uncle Vernon, standing up quickly and following her from the dining room. Wouldn't it be better if you just go home, dear? Aunt Petunia suggested timidly. Hours later, but Uncle Vernon didn't seem to hear her. Exactly what he was looking for. None of them knew. He drove them into middle of forest, got out, looked around, shook his head, got back in the car, and off they went again. The same thing happened in the middle of a plowed field, halfway across a suspension bridge at the top of a multi-story park. Daddy's gone mad, hasn't he? Dudley asked, and Petunia dully late that afternoon. Uncle Vernon had parked at the coast, locked them all inside the car, and disappeared. It started to rain. Great drops beat on the roof of the car. Dudley sniveled. It's Monday, he told his mother. The great Humberto's on tonight. I want to stay somewhere with the television. Monday. This reminded Harry of something. If it was Monday, and you can usually count on Dudley to know the days of the week because of television, then tomorrow, Tuesdays, was Harry 11's birthday. Of course, his birthdays were never exactly fun. Last year, the Dursley had given him a coat hanger and a pair of Uncle Vernon's old socks. Still, you weren't 11 every day. Uncle Vernon was back and he was smiling. He was also carrying a long, thin package and didn't answer Aunt Petunia's when she asked what he'd bought. Found the perfect place, he said. Come on, everyone out. It was very cold outside the car. Uncle Vernon was pointing at what looked like a large rock way out to sea. Perched on top of the rock was the most miserable little shack you could imagine. One thing was certain, there was no television in there. Storm forecast for tonight, said Uncle Vernon gleefully, clapping his hands together, and this gentleman kindly agreed to lend us his boat. A toothless old man came ambling up to them, pointing with a rather wicked grin at an old rowing boat bobbing in the iron-gray water below them. I have already got us some rations, said Uncle Vernon, so all aboard. It was freezing in the boat. Icy seas, spray and rain crept down their neck, and a chilly wind whipped their face. After what seemed like hours, they reached the rock, where Uncle Vernon's slip sliding led the way to the broken-down house. The inside was horrible. It smelled strongly of seaweed. The wind whistled through the gaps of the wooden walls, and the fireplace was damp and empty. There were only 2 rooms. Uncle Vernon's ration turned out to be a packet of crisps each and 4 bananas. He tried to start a fire, but the empty crisp packet just smoked and shriveled up. Could do with some of those letters now, eh? He said cheerfully. He was in a very good mood. Obviously, he thought nobody stood a chance reaching them here in the storm to deliver post. Harry privately agreed, though the thought didn't cheer him up at all. As night fell, the promised storm blew up around them. Spray from high waves splattered the walls of the hut, and the fierce wind rattled the filthy windows. Aunt Petunia found a few moldy blankets in the second room and made up a bed for Dudley on the moth-eaten sofa. She and Uncle Vernon went off to the lumpy bed next door, and Harry was left to find the softest bit of floor he could to curl up on the thinnest, most ragged blanket. The storm raged more and more ferociously as the night went on. Harry couldn't sleep. He shivered and turned over, trying to get comfortable, his stomach rumbling with hunger. Dudley's snore was drowned by the low rolls of thunder that started near midnight. The lighted dial of Dudley's watch, which was dangling over the edge of the sofa on his fat wrist, told Harry he'd be 10 minutes time. He lay and watched his birthday tick nearer, wondering if the Dursley would remember at all, wondering where the letter writer was now. 5 minutes ago, Harry heard some creaking outside. He hoped the roof wasn't going to fall in, although he might be warmer if it did. 4 minutes ago, maybe the house in Paradise would be so full of letters when they got back that he'd be able to steal one somehow. 3 minutes ago, was that the sea slapping hard on the rock just like that? And 2 minutes ago, what was that funny crunching noise? Was the rock crumbling into the sea? 1 minute ago, and he'd be 11, 30 seconds, 20, 10, 9, maybe he'd wake Dudley up just to annoy him. 3, 2, 1. Boom. The whole shack shivered and Harry sat bolt upright, staring at the door. Someone was outside, knocking to come in. แล้วก็จบ chapter 3 สักทีจะใช้เวลาอ่านไปครึ่งชั่วโมง Oh my god แล้วคือแซนบ็อกซ์จะหลับแล้ว ฉันเหนื่อยมากแกฉันเหนื่อยฉันเหนื่อยคือฉันอ่านแค่3 chapter ฉันก็เหนื่อยแล้วฉันจะอ่านครบ5 chapter ไหมเนี่ยหรือฉันควรพอแค่3 chapter วะเอาไงฉันควรไปต่อหรือพอแค่นี้ฉันเหนื่อยแค่นี้เหนื่อยงงพี่อ่านแค่3 chapter พี่เหนื่อยแล้วนะคะอ่านไป49 หน้าพี่เหนื่อยแล้วหรอคะไม่แต่มันเหนื่อยแล้วคือฉันรู้สึกฉันอ่านผิดไปเยอะมากไม่เข้าใจตัวเองเหมือนกันนี่ฉันก็รู้สึกฉันก็เก่งภาษาอังกฤษนะแต่เวลาอ่านผิดพักก่อนขอแรงกำลังใจจากคนดูนะคะไม่ต้องกังวลไปนะคะถ้าเหนื่อยก็มีหนูอยู่ใกล้ๆอันนี้น่าจะเหนื่อยกว่าเดิมนะคะรู้สึก Do you want me no thank you no thank you แต่คือฉันเหนื่อยจริงฉันเหนื่อยมาก I want premium not you yeah I want premium too I miss her I miss premium but she's gonna be out like 7th or 8th of January right yeah maybe she may be back at the time of my full Ian stream probably yeah maybe ขอไหนๆเราก็พักอยู่ขอนอกเรื่องหน่อยละกันทุกคืนในตอนนี้ใน X อ่ะมันมีเทียร์ลิสต์ของคุณครูโทรซันเดย์ที่เขาจัดเป็นเทียร์ลิสต์ของยูทูบเบอร์ใช่ไหมแกคิดว่าฉันควรเอาจัดเทียร์ลิสต์บ้างไหมฉันควรทำไหมแต่คือขอบอกไว้ก่อนว่าถ้าฉันทำนะมันจะมีคือมันด้วยความที่นั้นในลิสต์นั้นมีถ้าเขาบอกนะมีวีทูประมาณ700 กว่าท่านคือประมาณ600 ท่านจะไปอยู่ในหมวดหมู่ไม่รู้แบบหมวดหมู่จากทางความรู้จักหมดแล้วเพราะว่าฉันไม่รู้จักใครเลยฉันตาม VTube น้อยมากมีแค่บางคนที่เคยเห็นหน้าอยู่หรืออาจจะแบบว่าคุ้นๆแต่คือส่วนใหญ่ฉันตาม V น้อยมากถ้าฉันทำจัดทีลิคือแบบว่าทุกคนจะลากไปอยู่แบบอยากทำรู้จักหมดเลยเพราะว่าฉันไม่รู้จักใครเลยจริงแต่ฉันควรทุกคนคิดว่าฉันควรทำไหมทำไมล่ะหนูไม่ดีตรงไหนหรอทุกตรงไม่ทุกตรงหรอกแค่ว่าโนโซมิก็บางทีก็แอบน่ากลัวนะบางทีก็แอบน่ากลัวเป็นหนึ่งนะเพิ่มอีกคนคงไม่เป็นไร เผื่อได้คอลแลบด้วยไม่ต้องมีพรีเมียมก็ได้นี่นะอีกอย่างทำไมต้องมันด้วยพรีเมียมเป็นคนที่ส่วนเทียบสถิติสัปดาห์ก่อนพรีเมียมมาดูไลฟ์ชั้นตลอดเขามาดูชั้นตลอดและมาทันเวลาบางทีมาก่อนเวลาด้วยเป็นคนขยันเม้นทำสแตมนะพรีเมียมเป็นคนที่ซัพพอร์ตในที่สุดแล้วเอาจริงนะหรือว่าแอบนอกใจหนูโนโซมิเอ้ยฉันไปมีความสัมพันธ์กับเธอตอนไหนนะคะโนโซมิตอนนี้ฉันรู้สึกเอาจริงป้าตอนนี้ฉันรู้สึกไม่อยากอ่านต่อแล้วฉันรู้สึกแบบเหนื่อยอะหรือวันนี้เราควรพอแค่3 chapter ไหมเราควรพอแค่3 chapter ไหมเพราะฉันเหนื่อยเอาจริงเพราะรู้สึกว่าเวลาฉันเป็นคนคือเพราะฉันรู้สึกว่าคือฉันอะเวลาเป็นคนพอเวลาฉันรู้สึกเหนื่อยใช่ไหมฉันจะหายใจเร็วแล้วพอหายใจเร็วเยอะฉันจะใจเต้นแรงแล้วมันจะรู้สึกไม่สบายเนื้อสบายตัวเพราะตอนนี้ฉันเหนื่อย นะเอาไงหรือว่าฉันควรพอแค่3 chapter ดีเพราะยังไงซีรีส์เนี้ยไม่จบง่ายๆหรอกนะคือฉันอ่านหนังสือแค่49 หน้าฉันก็เหนื่อยขนาดนี้คิดดูแต่ถ้าฉันอ่านแบบอ่านไม่ออกเสียงนะฉันสามารถอ่านฉันสามารถอ่านหมดได้เลยอ่านหมดทั้งเล่มได้เลยแต่นี่คืออ่านออกเสียงไงมันก็เหนื่อยเพิ่มอีกคนคงไม่เป็นไรได้คอลแลบด้วยหมายถึงว่าจัดเทียร์ลิสต์หรอก็ดีเพราะว่าเอาจริงๆการเทียร์ลิสต์ของคุณครูทอสันเดย์มีประโยชน์มากเพราะว่ามันทำให้เหมือนเราพอเราไปอยู่ในลิสต์นั้นใช่ปะเราเห็นคนอื่นเอาเราไปอยู่ในเทียร์ลิสต์ว่าแบบว่าเหมือนคนนี้อยากรู้จักหรือว่าคนนี้เคยเห็นหน้าฉันอะไรอย่างเงี้ยก็แบบว่าเขาก็รู้เหมือนเขาก็รู้ว่าเราอยู่ตรงเนี้ยเพราะว่าวงการ VTuber ไทยมี VTuber คือ VTuber ไทยที่คุณครูซันเดย์เขารวบรวมมานะมี700 กว่าคนซึ่งคือโคตรเยอะนะฉันก็สงสัยเหมือนกันว่าถ้าสมมติว่าวันหนึ่งเขาจัดงานที่แบบว่าเอา VTuber ทั้งประเทศ700 กว่าคนทั้งประเทศมารวมอยู่ในงานเดียวกันเนี่ยฉันจะไปอยู่ส่วนไหนของงานวะแต่วันนั้นไม่น่ามีหรอกเยอะเกินนะมีกี่ chapter Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone Harry Potter ภาคแรกมีทั้งหมด17 chapter ซึ่งทั้งหนังสือทั้งเล่มเนี่ยมีทั้งหมดเดี๋ยวนะขอย้อนดูก่อนหนังสือทั้งเล่มเนี่ยมีทั้งหมด332 หน้าซึ่งเราอ่านไปแล้ว49 หน้าเท่ากับว่าถ้าตีจะเป็น300ถ้าตีเราอ่านไป50และเราตีไป330เราจะอ่านไปประมาณ1/6ครึ่งของทั้งหนังสือทั้งเล่มซึ่งถ้าเราตีเป็นสัดส่วนเนี้ยเราจะใช้เวลาประมาณ6 ถึง 7 ตอนในการอ่านทั้งเล่มซึ่งแน่นอนว่าเล่มหลังๆเนี่ยมันจะมีความยาวเพิ่มขึ้นไปอีกซึ่งฉันคิดว่าซีรีส์นี้เนี่ยถ้าฉันทำไปเรื่อยเนี่ยน่าจะมีประมาณ100 ตอนรู้สึกนะเล่นไรค่าเวลาดีเล่นตัว ไม่รู้ว่าคือมันไม่อยากอ่านต่อแล้วฉันไม่อ่านต่อแล้วได้ไหมทุกคนถ้าฉันไม่อ่านต่อทุกคนจะโอเคไหมจะเหนื่อยจริงขอเช็คประชากรยูริคาริยังอยู่ไหมเฉพาะไปวันนี้คุณปาล์มยังไม่มาเลยแต่ว่าเมื่อวานเขาบอกว่าเขาขับรถกลับตั้งแต่ตี 3นั่นแหละว่าแต่คุณยูริคาริยังอยู่ไหมคะหรือว่าหลับไปแล้วอุ๊ยเกือบหลับเหนื่อยจัง อุ๊ยเราจะปล่อยให้เงียบไม่ได้ความเงียบเป็นสิ่งที่น่ากลัวที่สุดนะก็ดีกว่าไม่ไปนะจะได้มีหน้ามีตาด้วยคุณครูโทรคงไม่เอาคนอยู่ท้ายสุดของอันดับมาไงอ้าวพรีเมียมฉันคิดถึงพรีเมียมมากพรีเมียมพรีเมียมดิฉันคิดถึงคุณเหลือเกินหลังจากที่คุณห่างหายไปหลายวันหรือเปล่าคุณกลับมาแล้วพระสงฆ์ฉันรู้สึกดีใจเป็นอย่างมากไม่แต่ถ้าสมมติว่าอนาคตมันมีงานที่แบบว่าเป็นงานที่รวม VTuber ทั้ง700 กว่าคนในประเทศไทยไปอยู่งานเดียวกันฉันก็อยากรู้เหมือนกันว่าฉันจะมีเป็นยังไงนะงานนั้นจะใหญ่น่าดูเอาจริงแต่ถ้าสมมติฉันไปงานอย่างเงี้ยฉันก็ไม่รู้จะเอาอะไรไปโชว์คือเพราะว่าเวลาสมมติถ้า VTuber เขาไปออกงานทีนึงส่วนใหญ่ใช่ไหมมันก็จะมีสเตจมีเขาเรียกว่าอะไรวะแฟนมีตหรอหรือแฟนคอสักอย่างหนึ่งนั่นแหละซึ่งทั้งสองอย่างเป็นเรื่องที่ถ้าสมมติอนาคตฉันเติบใหญ่จนสามารถไปออกงานได้เนี่ยก็ถือว่าเป็นเรื่องยากเพราะว่าสเตจฉันยังร้องเพลงไม่เพราะส่วนแฟนมีฉันก็ไม่รู้จะคุยกับคนยังไงนะแล้วสรุปยูริคาริยังอยู่ไหมน่าดูฉันถามไปหลายรอบน่าจะไม่อยู่หรอมั้งหรือเขาอาจจะหลับหรือเปล่านะแล้วตอนเนี้ยตามใจคะคนคุณก็มาแล้วสิ ตอนนี้รู้สึกแฮปปี้พรีเมียมมาแล้วเย้คิดถึงพรีเมียมจังเลยนะอยู่อ๋อคุณยุ้ยคยังอยู่แล้วก็นึกว่าคุณหลับไปแล้วนะดีใจดีใจจังเลยอืมแล้วฉันเพิ่งสังเกตว่าสภาพฉันตอนเนี้ยฉันกำลังห่มผ้าห่มอยู่เหมือนโมเดลฉันเดียเลยเออนะแกคิดว่าวันพุธที่ฉันจะสตรีมภาษาอังกฤษเต็มตัวครั้งเต็มตัวแบบจริงๆอ่ะแกคิดว่ามันจะมี VTube ต่างชาติท่านอื่นมาแบบแวะเวียนมาดูไหมไม่น่ามีหรอกมั้งสอนก็ดูจะมีแต่คนไทยเธอนะหรือว่าเป็นการลองอะไรใหม่ๆแวะเวียนมาก่อนแต่อยากให้พรีเมียมอยู่จนถึงจบไลฟ์เลยนะเพราะว่าเราคิดถึงพรีเมียมมากนะแล้วคืออ่านนิยายอ่านแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์ไปมากลายเป็นฟรีทอล์กเฉยเลยช่างมันถือว่าเราอ่าน3 chapter พอแล้วพอเถอะฉันเหนื่อยแล้วอ่านแค่3 chapter พอนะไว้เดี๋ยววันเสาร์เราค่อยมาอ่านchapter 4ต่อนะไม่รู้ว่าจะอ่านได้ถึงขนาดอ่านได้ถึงเมื่อไหร่นะเออแต่คือฉันเหนื่อยอ่ะอะไรคือการที่อยู่ดีก็บีทบ็อกงงเหมือนคนไม่มีอะไรทำอุ๊ยยุงอย่ามาตอมแถวหน้าฉันฉันจะหลับแหละคุณครูโทระเอ็กดาวพฤหัสฮะมายังไงคะเนี่ยไอดอลนั้น勝たなければ速やを持ち乗らないのにそれの地のなないすら文字のないないสมอลすべての文字やらないならอยู่ดีก็ร้องเพลงช่วงนี้ฉันติดไอดอลนันกาจากาตาระของ AKB มากเลยฉันชอบทำนองอ่ะฉันชอบท่าเต้นด้วยท่าเต้นแบบโบกสะบัดอะไรเงี้ยข้าก็แค่ไรเดอร์ที่ผ่านทางมาโอเคเลยนะคะไม่รู้ว่าจะลงไลฟ์กี่โมงอะแต่ว่าฉันยังรู้สึกอยากอยู่ยังไม่อยากรีบลงไลฟ์อะหาอะไรทำให้มันข้ามเวลาดีคือแบบเป็นการไลฟ์ที่แอบไม่ค่อยตรงจุดประสงค์กันนะครึ่งนึงอ่านนิยายครึ่งนึงทำอะไรก็ไม่รู้อะแต่ถ้าสมมติว่าฉันจะจัดเทียร์ลิสต์วีทูเบอร์700 คนที่เป็นเทียร์ลิสต์ของคุณครูโทระทุกคนจะดูไหมแต่บอกไว้ก่อนนะว่าประมาณ700 คนใช่ไหม600 คนคือจัดไปอยู่ในหมวดหมู่ไม่รู้จักร้องเพลงเกาหลีได้แค่ตอนอาบน้ำเปล่าแต่ไอดอลนั้นการจัดการตลาดเป็นเพลงญี่ปุ่นนะคะไม่รู้ตอนอาบเวลาแต่พวกหนึ่งเวลาอาบน้ำแล้วก็มีร้องเพลงบ้างนะวิคุณไทโยลงตารางไหนดูสิฮอกวอตส์เลกาซี่โอ้ my god วันหนึ่งฮอกวอตส์เลกาซี่ฉันเจ็บใจอยู่เลยอ่ะฉันอุตส่าห์ได้เก็บมาแต่ฉันเล่นไม่ได้เพราะการ์ดจอกากเกินอ่ะก็อยากรู้ว่าเมื่อไหร่จะอยากรู้ว่าเมื่อไหร่ฉันจะได้คอมใหม่นะ ถ้าฉันได้คอมใหม่เซตคอมใหม่หรือการ์ดจอใหม่ฉันจะเล่นเกมเอาให้หนำใจเลยฉันจะเปิดโปรเดชั่นทุกที่อะนะเสียดายเหมือนกันเล่นฮอกวอตส์เลกาซี่ไม่ได้อะคือฉันแบบเป็นตัวตึงแฮร์รี่พอตเตอร์ขนาดเนี้ยแล้วฉันเล่นไม่ได้อะเสียใจคอมกากเกินคอมหรือการ์ดจอไม่รู้อะน่าจะทั้งสองอย่างแหละแล้วคือพรีเมียมมาโนโซมิหายหัวไปเลยเนาะว้าวดูดีจังเลยค่ะพูดถึงฉันก็อยากหาทำไมไม่เล่นในโทรศัพท์ฮอกวอตส์เลกาซี่เล่นในโทรศัพท์ไม่ได้ครับหรือมันเล่นได้เหรอฮอกวอตส์มันงอนจ้าแล้วแต่โนโซมิฉันเป็นประเภทไม่ง้อคนอยู่แล้วนะไม่แล้วฮอกวอตส์เลกาซี่มันเล่นในโทรศัพท์ได้เหรอแต่พูดถึงฉันก็อยากหาอันนี้นอกเรื่องนะถ้าพูดถึงฉันก็อยากหาเพลง AKB cover ดีๆสักเพลงนะแต่ว่าข้อเสียคือคีย์สูงร้องไม่ถึงแล้วก็ขี้เกียจวาดอาร์ตประกอบด้วยไอเพลงที่ฉันว่าจะ cover ไอที่ฉันเคยเปิดให้ฟังตอนนั้นอะรู้สึกว่าถ้าจะทำต้องอัดใหม่เพราะว่าเสียงไมค์ช็อตทั้งการอัดฉันเพิ่งมาสังเกตเหมือนกันก็คือถ้าทำก็ต้องทำไปหมดเลยก็หาเพลง cover ใหม่น่าจะง่ายกว่านะบางทีไมค์แม่งก็เป็นอะไรก็ไม่รู้นะเพื่อความบันเทิงขั้นสุดแบบภาพแตก 144p อันนั้นก็อาจจะไม่ไหวนะ 144p เนี่ยดาดาดาดาดาไอดอลนั้นก็จะน่าแก่ได้ปะซึไม่ยาวมอยนอนเซซึโนอีมาซึโนอีอีนอนโซนอนมาเนดีลงไลฟ์กี่ทุ่มอาจจะ5 ทุ่มละมั้งเพราะว่าเราเหนื่อยขี้เกียจอ่านต่อแล้วเพราะเราจะคุยถึงเที่ยงคืนก็น่าจะเหนื่อยเกินก็5 ทุ่มลงไลฟ์ละกันนะรู้สึกแอบเจ็บคอเล็กน้อยถึงปานกลางถึงมากที่สุดเอาจริงๆไลฟ์ full English stream ของฉันอะที่ฉันจะทำวันพุธใช่ปะฉันก็ยังไม่รู้เหมือนกันว่าจะเอาอะไรมาพูดด้วยความที่มันพูดภาษาอังกฤษไงเป็นทีทอล์กอะก็ต้องหาอะไรพูดอยู่แล้วนะแต่ก็ไม่รู้ว่าจะพูดอะไรนะไม่รู้ว่าจะพูดอะไรเดี๋ยวเราก็หาเรื่องคุยได้แหละมั้งอุ๊ปส์ว้าวนี่ผมมาแล้วคนดูเงียบเลยมันเงียบอยู่แล้วเพราะว่าตอนที่ฉันอ่านอะคือตอนที่ฉันอ่านอะคือคนก็ไม่ค่อยส่งคอมเมนต์อยู่แล้วไงนะมันเงียบทั้งไลฟ์อยู่แล้ว นะเป็นบรรยากาศที่ก็ไม่แปลกใจเพราะว่าไลฟ์อ่านนิยายนะเออยูริคาริทำไมยูริคาริถึงชอบตีลังกาลงเตียงอะอยากรู้ตอนนี้ฉันเปิด X ดูอยู่แล้วฉันก็เห็นเทียริสขึ้นมาเยอะมากแล้วฉันก็สังเกตว่าฉันมักจะไปอยู่ในหมวดหมู่เขาเรียกว่าอะไรนะหมวดหมู่อยากทำความรู้จักของวีทูท่านอื่นนะเพราะว่าคือมันก็คือเอาง่ายมันคือหมวดหมู่ของคนที่ไม่รู้จักนั่นแหละกูไม่รู้จักคนนี้กูยัดใส่ตรงนี้คือถ้าฉันทำเทริฉันก็น่าจะยัดเหมือนกันนั่นแหละแต่บางคนเราก็เคยเห็นหน้าเห็นตามาแล้วนะแค่ว่าไม่รู้จักเว้ยแต่ฉันดีใจฉันไปอยู่ในหมวดหมู่รู้จักของคุณเอลฟิเลียฉันดีใจนะอย่างน้อยฉันก็เป็นที่รู้จักกับบางคนแล้ววะไหนดูสิส่วนใหญ่ฉันก็อยู่ในหมวดหมู่อยากทำความรู้จักหรือไม่รู้จักของวีทูท่านอื่นนั่นแหละมีแค่น้อยนิดที่แบบว่าบางคนเหมือนหรือเคยเห็นหรือว่ารู้จักฉันนะแต่สังคมฉันแคบเอาจริงนะอีก10 นาทีจะลงไลฟ์ไอเลิฟแมลงสาบแล้วคือโนโซมิหายยาวเลยเหรอถามจริงไม่คิดจะกลับมาหาเราเหรอข้าวหน้าปลาไหลซูชิโร่แล้วคุณพรีเมียมจะพูดทำไมเราอยากกินเนี่ยคือพรีเมียมพูดเราอยากกินซูชิโร่เลยอยากกินข้าวหน้าปลาไหลเลยคุณโนโซมิจะพูดทำไมคะไม่ใช่โนโซมิคุณพรีเมียมจะพูดทำไมคะฉันอยากคุณพูดแล้วฉันอยากกินเนี่ยคือคุณกำลังทรมานดิฉันอยู่นะคะแล้วคือเอาจริงๆป่ะตอนฉันเห็นว่าฉันอยู่ในเทลิของวีทูเบอร์หลายคนใช่ป่ะฉันรู้สึกอายมากทุกคำที่ว่าเลยรูปหลายๆคนอ่ะวีทูเบอร์อื่นคือโปรไฟล์โมเดลสวยมากแล้วกลับมาดูแล้วตัดภาพมาโมเดลกูตลกมากนะไม่เป็นไรเพราะว่าเดี๋ยวปีนี้ฉันก็มีโมเดลใหม่แล้วนะแต่จะมาเมื่อไหร่ก็อีกเรื่องนึงอยากกินกะเพราหมูกรอบอีกละฉันอยากกินกะเพราหมูกรอบก็เพิ่งกินไปเมื่อวานก็อยากกินอีกไม่เข้าใจแล้วถ้าเป็นฉันคุณจะจัดไปอยู่ในเทียร์ไหนหรือคือเขาเรียกว่าอะไรนะเทียร์ลิสอันนี้ใช่ไหมมันเป็นเทียร์ลิสของวีทูเบอร์นะก็โนโซมิไม่ได้เป็นวีทูเบอร์ฉะนั้นเราไม่สามารถจัดเทียร์ให้โนโซมิได้นะคะโนโซมิต้องไปเป็น V ก่อนเดี๋ยวฉันถึงจะจัดเทียร์ให้นะเพราะนี่คือเทียร์ลิสของวีทูเบอร์ไงแต่โนโซมิไม่ใช่ V ฉะนั้นเราไม่สามารถจัดเทียร์ลิสให้โนโซมิได้นะคะสตอกเกอร์ น่ากลัวมาก เทียร์ลิสต์คนดูประจำช่อง คือมันน้อยอ่ะฉันลองไล่นะพรีเมียมคุณปาล์มยูดิคาริแซนบ็อกโนโซมิคุณอันคุณแซลมอนคุณอาร์ตคุงคุณบังเอิญแลนด์คุณคลาวด์เอ็กซ์คราวเนี่ยคนดูฉันมีประมาณ10 คนที่ฉันจำได้เนี่ย คือฉันจัดเทียร์ลิสต์ถ้าสมมติฉันจัดอ่ะแป๊บนึงนะฉันขอหยิบเว็บไซต์ก่อนไม่ต้องหยิบเว็บไซต์หรอกฉันลองพูดเลยแล้วกัน10 คนใช่ไหมเริ่มจากพรีเมียมเป็นคือเรายกให้เป็นท็อปเดอะเบสของคนดูช่องชั้นเพราะว่าพรีเมียมเป็นคนที่ดูชั้นตลอดตั้งแต่พรีเมียมมาตามชั้นเขาก็ดูสตรีมชั้นตลอดเขาก็ดูสตรีมชั้นตลอดดูทันมาก่อนเวลามาทันเวลาหลายรอบแล้วก็มักจะทิ้งคอมเมนต์ทันสแตมไว้ซึ่งรู้สึกว่าเป็นอะไรที่ประทับใจมากคือรู้สึกว่าแบบขอบคุณที่เราตามเรามาตลอดขอบคุณรักพรีเมียมจริงๆเรายกให้พรีเมียมเป็น the best number one 2 คนที่ตามมาคือคุณปาล์มกับไม่ใช่2 คนดิ3 คนที่ตามมาคือคุณปาล์มคุณแซนบ็อกแล้วก็คุณยูริคารินะ3 คนนี้คือคุณปาล์มอาจจะอยู่ในเทียร์นี้คุณปาล์มเป็นคนที่ตามเรามาตั้งแต่เอาดีใช่เรายกย่องคุณนะคุณพรีเมียมคือคุณแบบขอบคุณมากที่ซัพพอร์ตเราแล้วก็คอยคอมเมนต์คลิปเราตลอดถึงมันจะเป็นแค่สตาร์มแซมแต่คือว่ารู้สึกว่าอย่างน้อยเขาก็ใส่ใจที่นี่คอนเทนต์เรานะพูดต่อคุณปาล์มคนที่ตามเราตั้งแต่ที่เรามาเป็นวีแรกๆแล้วเขาก็ปัจจุบันนี้เขาก็ตามอยู่นะก็คือก็ดูคอนเทนต์เราบ่อยดูไลฟ์เราตลอดนั่นแหละนะส่วนแซนบ็อกกับยูริคาริเนี่ยเป็นคนที่อยู่มาช่วงเวลาเดียวกับคุณปาล์มใช่ไหมพูดปุ๊บมาเลยคุณปาล์มสวัสดีค่ะต้อนเข้าสู่เสียงของCallistoSoCoolในวันนี้นะวันนี้จริงๆเรามาอ่านนิยายแหละแต่ว่าเราอ่านไป3 บทแล้วเราเหนื่อยเราก็เลยไม่อ่านแล้วเราก็ลงอีก5 นาทีเราจะลงไลฟ์แล้วพูดต่อนะยูริคาริอีกคนนึงก็เป็นอีกคนหนึ่งที่อยู่กับช่องเรามานานแล้วเหมือนกันพอๆกับคุณปาล์มแหละนะก็ดูแล้วตลอดถึงแม้ว่าเขาจะชอบแมลงสาบนะส่วนคุณแซนบ็อกเป็นคนที่มาพร้อมๆกับคุณพรีเมียมเหมือนกันแต่ถ้าเทียบพรีเมียมจะมาบ่อยกว่าแต่แซนบ็อกก็มาดูนะก็ดีใจแล้วก็ขั้นต่อมาก็คือคุณแซลมอนกับคุณอัน2 คนนี้เป็นเพื่อนเรานะแล้วก็เขาก็ติดตามผลงานเราแล้วก็เหมือนเราจะมีผลงานร่วมกันด้วยนะก็ถ้าจำไม่ผิดนะใช่ก็ไว้เราดูอนาคตนะ2 คนนี้เป็นคนที่ก็ดูไลฟ์เราเหมือนกันในช่วงนี้นะถึงช่วงนี้อาจจะไม่ได้มาบ่อยแล้วก็เขาก็โดเนทมาให้เราด้วยบางช่วงนะกรุงเทพรถติดมากสู้ๆค่ะคุณปาล์มนะคุณแซลมอนกับคุณอันนะถ้า1 นาทีสุดท้ายจะเป็นเพลงโอเคเลยคุณแซลมอนกับคุณอันนะแล้วที่ต่อมาคุณอาร์ตคู่กับคุณบังเอิญแลนด์2 คนนี้เป็นคนที่ดูช่องเราแล้วหนูโนโซมิใจเย็นโนโซมิอย่ารีบลูกโนโซมิหนูต้องมีความอดทนมากกว่านี้นะหนูนะคุณอาร์ตคู่กับคุณบังเอิญแลนด์เป็น2 คนที่ตามช่องเราตอนแรกๆถึงแม้ว่าปัจจุบันนี้จะไม่ได้ตามเราแล้วหรือว่าจะไม่ได้มาดูไลฟ์เราไม่รู้ว่าเขายังตามเราอยู่ไหมแต่ว่าช่วงนี้เขาไม่ได้ดูไลฟ์เราแล้วเราก็ถือว่าเขาก็เป็นคนที่เป็นหนึ่งในกลุ่มคนแรกๆที่สนใจในอาชีพเรานั่นแหละก็ถือว่าเป็นเรื่องดีส่วนคนสุดท้ายนะคะโนโซมิฉันให้คุณอยู่ท้ายที่สุดเลยเพราะว่ารู้สึกว่าโนโซมิถ้าให้พูดจริงๆนะถ้าให้พูดจริงๆแบบไม่อ้อมค้อมนะโนโซมิบางทีก็แบบน่ากลัวแต่คือเราไม่ได้ซีเรียสเพราะว่าคือมันก็เป็นไอ้นี่แหละสวัสดีคุณคาวเอ็กซ์คาวนะคะแล้วเข้าสู่สตรีมของCallistoSoCoolในวันนี้นะเราลืมพูดถึงคุณคาวเอ็กซ์คาวเลยใช่ไหมเพราะว่าถ้าเราตัดเทียร์ลิสต์คนดูใช่ไหมคุณคลาวเอ็กซ์คาวก็จะอยู่ในเทียร์ลิสต์เดียวกับคุณแซนบ็อกแล้วก็คุณยูริคาริอยู่เทียร์ลิสต์เดียวกันนะเพราะว่าเขาก็มาดูเราบ่อยแต่ถ้าให้พูดความจริงนะโนโซมิก็มีบางมุมที่แอบน่ากลัวแต่ฉันไม่ได้อะไรมากเพราะว่าคือนั่นแหละมันก็เป็นความไอ้นี่มันเขาเรียกว่าอะไรนะมันก็มีความแบบเข้าใจว่ายูชอบไอในคอนเทนต์ของไออะไรอย่างเงี้ยถึงแม้ว่ามันการแสดงออกมันจะน่ากลัวไปนิดนึงแต่เราก็ไม่ได้ติดอะไรนะคือเราเป็นคนที่ไม่ได้แบบว่ารู้สึกกลัวอะไรอย่างง่ายๆคือบางทีเราแค่รู้สึกว่าคิดในใจนะว่าเขาก็กล้าเนาะแต่คือเราไม่ได้อะไรมากนะโนโซมิจะแบบว่าชื่นชอบดิฉันด้วยวิธีอะไรของโนโซมิก็แล้วแต่นะพรีเมียมติดตามแทนผมด้วยช่วงนี้มาหลายงานเต็มสู้ๆนะคะคุณปาล์มขอให้ผ่านไปได้อย่างราบรื่นนะคะนั่นแหละให้พูดจริงๆโนโซมิเราก็ไม่ได้รู้สึก รังเกียจเดียดฉานอะไรยูหรอกแค่ว่าไม่ยอมบุมที่รู้สึกว่ายูก็แอบน่ากลัวแต่ก็นั่นแหละขอบคุณที่ซัพพอร์ตนะอุ๊ยอีก1 นาทีจะลงไลน์แล้วว่าแต่พูดถึงอย่างน้อยโนโซมิทำตัวแปลกๆในช่องแชทฉันก็ถือว่าเป็นสีสันก็ถือเป็นสีสันในการไลฟ์นะนะอะไรคือหัวใจแมลงสาบบ้าน่ากลัวจังอยู่ดิคันนี้สายซุ่มอย่างน้อยคุณคลาว X Cloud ก็มาดูเราบ่อยนะเนี่ยคนดูฉันทั้งหมด10 คนที่ฉันจำได้นะมันมีคนอื่นอีกแหละแต่แค่ว่าฉันถ้าใครมาดูฉันบ่อยฉันจะจำได้นะชอบของแปลกนี่ว่า อย่างน้อยมันก็เรียกคนให้มาเม้นในช่องอ่ะอย่างน้อยเขาก็ที่ไงสร้างคอนเทนต์โนโซมิอย่างน้อยโนโซมิก็มีประโยชน์ในการสร้าง engagement ให้กับช่องเรานะคะเนาะขอกล่าวถึงมาเลยฮะพอกล่าวถึงมาเลยใช่ไหมจริงตอนแรกชื่อกองพื้นแต่คุณจำไม่ค่อยได้เราก็จำไม่ได้จริงๆนะกองพื้นเหมือนเคยได้ยินอยู่ช่วงหนึ่งมั้งแต่แต่เรียกว่าคุณ Cloud X Cloud ก็ดีแล้วค่ะจำได้ง่ายดีนะแต่จริงไม่ว่าไงเราก็ขอบคุณทุกคนที่ซัพพอร์ตเรานะถึงว่าฐานะคนดูเราจะมีแค่ถ้าไม่นับคุณอาร์ตคุงกับคุณบังเอิญแลนด์ที่ช่วงนี้ไม่ได้ดูเราแล้วก็มีประมาณ8 คนที่ดูเราหลักๆนะอย่างน้อยก็ก็ดีกว่าไม่มีเลยเอาจริงนะลงไลฟ์พาทุ่มแล้วคุณปาล์มไล่เหรอคะคุณปาล์มไล่คุณปาล์มไล่เลยเหรอฉันอยากคุยต่อนิดนึงคือคุณปาล์มไล่เลยเหรอคือคุณปาล์มไม่อยากให้ฉันไล่ต่อคุณปาล์มไล่เลยโอเคนะอย่างน้อยก็ขอบคุณทุกคนที่แบบว่าสร้างสีสันถ้าไม่พูดเลยครับไม่แกไม่ฉันไม่จะเลิกทำฉันไม่ได้จะเลิกทำฉันแค่คือด้วยความที่พออยู่ดีมีคนพูดถึงเรื่องจัดเทียร์ลิสต์ใช่ไหมแล้วโนโซมิใช่ไหมก็พูดถึงเรื่องจัดเทียร์ลิสต์คนดูอะไรเงี้ยฉันก็พูดถึงคนดูบ้างด้วยความที่เราพูดถึงคนดูว่าเป็นนี้เราก็ต้องขอบคุณเขาบ้างไงแต่คือหนูยังไม่ไปไหนค่ะพี่หนูยังไม่ไปไหนหนูยังอยู่ตรงนี้นะหนูยังไม่ได้เลิกทำอะไรนะหนูยังอยู่ตรงนี้นะหนูยังไม่ได้ไปไหนนะหนูแค่อยากขอบคุณคนดูนะนั่นแหละเราถือว่า take this moment to appreciate my viewers because I really appreciate you all you know like I mean having at least 8 viewers per stream is better than having none like I still remember the day when I had like 0 viewers during my debut stream and then no one watched except for Mr. Art Kung who was apparently there to greet me and he's gone I guess something weird I don't know but like it has went to the point where I'm here and there are at least like 8 viewers who always watch my stream at least most of the time yeah like at least it'll be premium or palm or like Yurikari Kung Nozomi Clouds X Crown and Kun An and Kun Salmon yeah อย่าลืมนะตามเขาอ่านภาษาอังกฤษออก I know that's why I want to talk in English yeah 6-7 6-7 you sure yeah Why did it suddenly get emotional อยู่ดีๆก็ซึ้งงงว่าแต่วันนี้ก็ยังมีพลุส่วนใหญ่เช้าเที่ยงเย็นวันที่4ยังมีพลุอีกเหรอคือแถวบ้านยูนิคารินี่คือเขารวยพลุกันหรือไงวะหรือว่าปีใหม่เขามีระยะเวลายาวเป็นอาทิตย์อย่างเงี้ยเหรองงคือแบบงงอยู่ดีๆก็ซึ้งอยู่ดีมาหมดซึ้งนะคะร้องไห้ดีกว่าร้องไห้ปลอมมากกูอย่าร้องเลยนะอยู่งงอยู่ดีพูดขอบคุณคนดูนะคะแล้วอยู่ดีกูก็ซึ้งนะคือเรารู้สึกว่าเรายังไม่อยากลงไลน์อ่ะเราอยากหาเรื่องคุยต่อไปเรื่อยๆเลยยังรู้สึกไม่ค่อยอยากลงไลน์ตอนเนี้ยแล้วจะบอกจะลง5 ทุ่มแล้วฉันก็บอกว่าไม่อยากลงไลน์นะอะไรของกูเนี่ยมีเพลงเหมือนเดิมด้วยเป๊ะเพลงผู้คือแถวบ้านยูนิคารีคือเขาแข่งปาร์ตี้เนาะดราม่าพูดจีนฟังออกอังกฤษฟังไม่ออกจริงๆ我可以说中文但是我说英文很好但是我的中文不太好มีความพยายามใช้ศัพท์ที่ตัวเองจำได้พรุ่งนี้เปิดเทอมสินะสู้ๆค่ะคุณ Cloud X Crown นะคะหลังจากปิดปีใหม่มาอย่างยาวนานใช่ไหมนะคือเหมือนฉันพูดภาษาอังกฤษจนแบบไม่เหลือให้พูดในฟรีทอล์กวันพุธแล้วฉันก็ไม่รู้เลยสู่ฟรีทอล์กวันพุธฉันจะพูดเรื่องอะไรไม่เอาสู้ๆนะ Let's tease them with some English. Yeah. I like teasing people actually, like, I don't know. The feeling when, I want to see his reaction though. The feeling when you're speaking a language and then someone doesn't get it, it is kind of funny. Like, you don't understand what they're saying. Is a little hilarious, I don't know. But like, if that happened to me myself, I probably wouldn't be happy. Yeah, because like I want to go to school. Yeah. ก็สู้ๆนะคะคุณยูนิคาริขอให้ไปโรงเรียนมีความสุขในพรุ่งนี้นะ Yeah. I don't know. It's better than going to university. Yeah, I mean, each and every different age has its own difficulties and problems. Like, yeah, everyone faces problems every day. It's normal. It's perfectly normal. Yeah. Good luck. Yeah, good luck. What's he saying? I can't understand. Yeah, that is something. Yeah. Is it wrong life? No, I just wanna replicate of what's going to happen on Wednesday, because you know I'm doing a full English live stream on Wednesday, so I'm trying to replicate what would happen. And as of I know that most of my viewers probably don't understand what I'm saying, like I can understand some words. Yeah, that's good for you, Yudikari. someone wants to speak English, yeah, so that you would understand. You just buzzed me. Yeah. But like, I don't know. But still better than my school. A Japanese teacher teaching English. What? Why would your school get a Japanese teacher to teach English? Like that I don't think that doesn't even make sense. What? Why would your school do that? What? I don't understand. Why would your school hires a Japanese teacher to teach English? That's weird. Well, I don't understand. Why? Why? I have a Chinese teacher teaching Chinese. He's 6 years never speaking anything else than Chinese. Oh, that's hard, I guess. Donate and support at the link on the pin. Yeah. Yeah. You can donate and support me on the link at my pinned comment. Yeah. Yeah. Like, how? I feel like someone's missing from the comment section. You know what I'm talking about? If you know, you probably know. Yeah. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. Personally, I feel like my tones is kind of different when I speak English, maybe, because like when I speak Thai, I sound more like a girl boss, slay, queen, whatever that is. But like when I speak English, I sound like a gay guy. I don't know, but it seems like I had a whole different personality when I speak English. Do you think I feel different when I speak English, or do you think I feel the same? You know who you're talking about, of course, Naozomi. Yeah. Ranking VTubers that changed language midlife. CallistoSoCool. Of course. Right now I'm practicing cockroach language. Change like a different person. Really? I feel like a whole different person when I speak English. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Is it a good thing or a bad thing that I sound whole different when I speak English? Maybe it's a good thing. You think it's a good thing? Number one. Of course I have to be number one. I have to be like at the top of the community. Even though I only have less than 200 subscribers, I'm gonna be number one. How is that even possible? I don't know. Good. Is it a good thing? Maybe I should speak English more? You think I should speak English more? But honestly, if I speak more English, then people just wouldn't get me. I mean, being multi-language is good, but also bad at the same time. Like, literally. No, but like, for a second when Nozomi said good, I thought you said goon. Why am I bringing this topic into the conversation? That's like, why am I talking about gooning? Oh my god, no. Let's keep that away from our live stream because that's not a good thing to talk about. Yeah. Maybe I might end the stream at midnight. Maybe. Maybe I might end the stream at midnight. Probably. Gooning. No. No, Tommy, don't goon. That's not a good thing. Yeah, but like I live stream for 3 hours. I spent an hour and a half reading Harry Potter and then another hour and a half talking in English. I don't know, this is like a whole different stuff. Maybe I gotta stick to the content more, but I don't feel like ending the stream right now. I feel like I wanna talk to you guys more. Stunts the first time English. Yeah. Hey, he speak English, don't just listen. Why don't you try typing Chinese back? Yeah, that could work. But I have a thing called open with Morse code. Morse code? Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah. Like, if I spend this time talking in English rather than reading novel, I probably had like more chapters. No, not Morse code. I don't know Morse code. The worst thing is that you can't copy Morse code in what do you say? You can't copy Morse code in YouTube chat. I can just copy it and paste it. I don't understand. I'm stunned. Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to discuss with me? Anything want to talk more? Or you guys think I should end the stream already? Yeah, whatever. I'm spelling Chinese right now. Yeah. When I say discuss something, I didn't mean after the stream end. I mean like, during the stream, because I because I feel like something weird is gonna happen after the stream. So yeah, maybe let's not. I know, I don't want to. Whoa. Yeah, I kind of get what you say. Why is my group chat exploding with stuff? What are my friends talking about? Wait, I'm sorry, I gotta check right now. Yeah. I don't know. But personally, I feel like when Nozomi is being creepy, I kind of find it amusing. I don't know. I like seeing. Can I type in Khmer? No. No. Khmer is banned from this channel. Wanna type in other language, but I'm afraid. Yes, I'm gonna scold you. Do not type in Khmer because I'm gonna ban you. Literally. Literally. That is... Well, that is certainly weird. Oh, why is my model so low down there? Yeah? Russian? Really? We're going Russian right now? Daddy Callis, I'm scared. Why are you calling me Daddy Callis? Please don't call me Daddy Callis. International chats. Yeah, we got like many countries right here. Yeah. I'm not sure. Vietnamese? Really? One sec, I gotta argue with my friends in the group chat. Mommy Callis? I don't know, maybe try finding another name. I don't want to be called daddy or mommy. Yeah. Top number one, Callisto's average chat. Yeah. At this point, I feel like I'm encouraging people to be weird in my chat. Like, yeah. Nong Khalid? Really? Nong Khalid? Does it work? Nah, it sounded too innocent. I don't want to be that innocent, you know? You think I'm innocent? Where even got Vietnamese right now? Yeah. Why? At this point, I am cringing at myself. Like, why do I feel so cringe when I speak English? Yeah. and my mother singing again. Why? Why are you singing so often? Learn Chinese, Thai, Vietnam, but didn't learn English. Okay. Yeah. Your innocence has gone since I'm here. No, my innocence has long gone since before you even came into my life. You think I've always been a innocent looking guy? No. I've seen and heard of stuff long ago. How many words you know in English? Yes, no, okay, thank you. Yeah, okay. No, Sumi, why don't you type in English? I just said that and you just comment in English. Of course, you're always innocent to me. I don't want you to view me as an innocent person. Because I'm not innocent, you know, darling. I'm sorry I'm laughing so hard. It just feels weird. I just get the ick when someone calls me darling, you know? But like I said, I don't want you to view me as an innocent person. Because I'm not that innocent. Why am I saying like that? It's weird. One thing I know is that I like to tease my viewers. The only person that I can tease is myself? What? No. Siri translate. Yeah, Siri translate. Oh my god. Now I know what's gonna happen on Wednesday when I go on full in stream. Yeah, this is like a trial period. That's good. Oh, I feel like something just bit my knee. Was it a mosquito or an ant? I'm not sure. Maybe it's a mosquito. I hate mosquitoes. My beloved VTuber. Oh, I'm your beloved VTuber? You sure? I'm your beloved VTuber? Really? 나는 발레를 통하여. I can read Korean, but I don't understand. I don't understand Korean, but I can read them. Always love you. Please speak Thai. I don't understand English. Yeah, I wanna speak Thai, but like, if I speak Thai right now, it's gonna lose all that mood I said. I don't know. I felt too cringe to go back to Thai right now. I'm sorry. สงสารโมเดลตัวสงสารคุณปาล์มนะคะแต่ว่าเราก็อยากพูดอังกฤษต่อเพราะว่าเราชอบแกล้งคนนะคะนะ always love you really you always love me no matter what really no to me but if you really love me then you wait how should I say this I will only believe that you love me when you donate to me. What the hell am I talking about? defying someone's love from donation いえ、何ですか？プレミアムさんは、いや、あなたは、いいじゃない something, I don't know how to spell Korean สระเอกอกอไก่สระอาหอหีบลอลิงสระอี yeah that's how you spell it わからないでも私もわからないわからない We're so multi-language at this point like weird what's weird was weird was weird what wait what did my internet went on an error or something what are you guys saying ow what don't make me panic y'all what CallistoSoCool をサブスクするのを出ないでI mean, I can read some Japanese character, but most of the time I don't understand it. Yeah. They're confused. Oh, okay, so is that killing me right? Okay, don't worry. Yeah. Oh, thank you for telling me, Nozomi. 日本語を得てください Yeah, I mean I can read some kanji. I mean I can read both hiragana and katakana, but I know some kanji. Only some, literally. Premium Nihon. Oh wait, I already read that message. I thought Palm sent a new message. I'm sorry. I thought he said something new. Wakata. Wakata. And there's cockroaches again. Nozomi, say something to me. Anything. I wanna talk to you. I don't know. しかし、ここでどうやって something 得ればいいのでしょうか The problem is I can read Japanese, but I don't understand. What is it? Yeah. Oh my god, I love teasing people. I'm such a bad person. What? Talk to me, say something. Anything. Just wanna talk to you. I don't know. I feel like there's this. You want me now? I'm sorry, I'm just gonna laugh. As I said, I like teasing people. I just keep laughing at your comments. I'm sorry. So when you're gonna talk to me? Why do I feel like I'm a whole different person today? Like what? What has gone into me? Has English turned me into a weird? I'm already weird, but speaking English for a whole hour has turned myself into a whole other person. Maybe that's a new character. Yeah, I'm gonna call this one wait. So my original is Callisto. But I feel like, because no, personally I feel like I sound and act so different when I speak English. It feels like a whole different person. Maybe I should call this English speaking personality as a different one. A moment my internet is not well. I hope your internet is bad for the rest of your life. Sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't say that. Nobody said anything. What should I call myself when I speak English? Oh my god. CallistoSoCool version 2 Inkward. That sounds way too boring, bland, I don't know. Maybe let's switch my name. CallistoSoCool. Callista. Nah, it sounds like a girl's name. You know what? Let's just forget it. I'm just gonna stick with myself. It's just that I act different when I speak English. Is it? Is it just me that acts different when I speak other language? Or does it happen to other people? Or maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just being delusional or crazy. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna end the stream at midnight. Yeah. What is this language? Oh my god. There are like thousands of language in my chat. Yeah. Hello? Oh, I thought my camera wasn't working. あまり好きではありません Greek. Oh, it's Greek. Okay. Greek. Oh, thank you for telling me. The only time I'm gonna be nice to Nozomi is when I speak English. But when I speak Thai, I'm gonna be careful. I don't know what to say. So yeah. Well, I guess I have to cancel Wednesday's in stream. I don't know. It feels nice teasing people. Hahaha. Yeah, but Nozomi, you should take this as a... What should I call it? Tomorrow I have science 2 hours. Oh, well, สู้ๆนะคะ Fighting, bro. Why? Afraid? Girl, please. I don't know. Personally, I feel like I feel more. Wait, what's that word again? I'm sorry, I had to Google. I don't know what that word mean, but I want to use it, but I'm not sure if the context is gonna be correct, so I'm gonna use it. Oh, that's what it means. Man, maybe again. I'm loving it. Is it McDonald's? Yeah. I don't know. I feel more I'm living there understand the language. Yeah. It feels like when you have the power, you just feel cocky. Yes, the word is cocky. When you feel cocky, you can just like be confident when you had the power. But literally, yeah, that's why I'm being nice to you, Nozomi, because I have the power. But when I speak Thai, I'm just gonna be careful when I'm around you because, yeah, I feel normal. I feel on the normal level when I'm speaking Thai. But when I speak English, I feel like I'm like a psychopath. I mean, I said it before, but not everyone's. Everyone has their psychopath side sometime. I wake up at 6 tomorrow. Well, สู้ๆ อยู่ดีคดี yeah. I only have afternoon classes and no, it's 5 a.m. Oh, yeah, fighting Yurikari-san. Yeah. Oh no, Yurikari-kun. Yeah. Oh, I love talking to Nozomi when I'm speaking English. Okay, we got 20 minutes before I end the stream. Why? Oh my god, why is my model flicking like that? Oh my god, that's so scary. As I said, I love teasing people. I like it so. Really? Really? You like it? Maybe I should speak English more? Or should I speak Thai more? Oh my god, I'm cringing so hard, what the hell? Watching others not understanding in English. Yeah, like when you had the power. Oh my god, that's gotten into me today. Has Harry Potter somehow altered my brain and turned me into a cocky person? I don't know, maybe. The happiness is tastier than food. Yeah, but กะเพราหมูกรอบ tastes better than happiness. Like a dream or yeah, maybe let's not talk about addictives. Yeah, maybe let's not talk about addictives. When I think about it, I wanna eat กะเพราหมูกรอบ Even though I just had it yesterday, I wanna eat it again today. Maybe tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow, or on Wednesday. You know? When I think about it, it's probably a great thing that Nozomi didn't have Discord because I'm pretty sure that Nozomi is gonna blow up my Discord DM with messages. Yeah, I think it's a great thing that Nozomi didn't have a Discord. End stream at 5 p.m. at 11 p.m. equals midnight. That means 1 a.m. No, I would actually go at midnight. I'm a man of my word, even though I betray my words twice today, but it doesn't matter. I don't feel bad because tomorrow I got a dark circle around my eyes. Yeah, a good concealer will help. A good concealer will help. Yeah. The first thing I'm gonna do is send hello Monday picture. Ew, if you do that, I'm gonna block you. I don't like old people things, you know? Like, and sending you love every day. Really? Yeah, try getting your Discord back first before you do that. Yeah, I don't know how you get banned, but sure. Yeah. Send it. Let's not. There isn't. Yeah, because there isn't. But it's a great thing. Because if Nozomi did really send me a Swadi Wanjan picture, I would ban Nozomi and block Nozomi. Maybe it's a little part of myself. Me and Nozomi got banned because being annoying, you know, or yeah. I would get it. My brain's not following. I had a log. Oh, that's hard. Banned since love. Yeah, I mean, technically, I probably wouldn't ban or block someone from that, but like, I'm just saying. But if I would ban, I would block them, literally. Yeah. But like, when you get a device banned on Discord, there's no way in creating another account on Discord, right? What is the bad thing? I guess it's a part of me that when someone shows affection towards me, I just feel like, yeah, this is kind of person I want to tease with. Like, yeah. To be honest, it's kind of fun playing with someone's feelings, but if someone did play with my feelings, I probably wouldn't be fun too. But like, yeah, happiness doesn't last long. Everybody knows that. Device got banned. Yeah. Well, I guess it's a great thing that you don't have Discord, so that my DM wouldn't get blasted with love messages. Tease them by psychology is enough. Yeah. Now actions turns time. Huh? What does that mean? What does it mean?แปลว่าอะไรอ่ะ No, I don't get it. I don't follow. Oh my god, why is my blanket draped around the floor like that? I had to re-wrap my blanket around myself again. What is going on? Oh. You know Grok AI now can change or edit someone's image, right? What are you gonna do with my image? Nozomi, what are you gonna do with my image? What are you gonna do with my image, Nozomi? I don't. I have bad feeling. What is Nozomi gonna do with my image? I don't feel good. I don't feel good. I have a bad feeling. Like pictures and say change the clothes to bikini. It can. Yeah, but the pictures that my pictures on X only had like my face covered, and there are no clothes like using my face. And even if you use the prompt to like remove the emoji from the person's face, you wouldn't see anything. You know why? Not see anything. Yeah. สู้ๆนะคะคุณปาล์มคือถ้าฉันพูดภาษาไทยปกติใช่ไหมฉันจะมองโนโซมิเป็นไฟสังคม But when I speak English I just like to tease Nozomi because it's fun no วีจะเป็นบ้าเพราะคนเดียว จริงเนี่ยโนโซมิทำฉันเป็นโรคประสาทนะคะ Yeah Nozomi you ruined me คราวนี้กูพูด2 ภาษาพร้อมกันแล้วขยันจริงกูเนี่ยอีกนาทีลงไลน์แล้วเย่เพราะความยันเดเล่ของเขากูขำยันเดเล่อะพูดถึงยันเดเล่ใช่ปะฉันก็อยากเล่นยันเดเล่ซิมูเลเตอร์นะแต่เกมแม่งกระตุกน่าจะเล่นไม่ไหวyeah but like is there someone who's actually a yandere Oh, you're not speaking English. I'm speaking. I'm just switching language. No? That's too bad. I'm literally speaking it right now, dude. หรือว่าแชทมันหรือว่ามันดีเลย์หรออาจจะดีเลย์มั้งไม่รู้ Yeah. I'm probably speaking English until the end of the stream, probably. And why are we all silent? New viewers here, I'm gonna ปั่นประสาท until the end for you. Yeah, sure. Nozomi Tajibana, please ban this person. I'm starting to get annoyed. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Should I ban Nozomi? Should I ban you, Nozomi? Oh my god. Don't you know I'm a savage? I'm a killer, not killer. อยู่ดีก็ลอง Savage ของเอสป้านะคะงงช่อง 7 HD TV เพื่อคุณเอาไงสุดแบนโนโซมิดีไหมไม่เอาเราอยากแกล้งคนนะทำไมล่ะคะนั่นสิแต่ว่าเราพูดภาษาไทยเราแบนได้กดแบนเลย กดแบนก่อนทำเอาแม่งเลยเราพูดภาษาไทยอยู่เราแบนได้แอะ ฉันพูดภาษาไทยอยู่ฉันสามารถแบนได้ผมรู้ว่าทำไมคุณคาริโตโซคูไม่ชอบยังไงหรออะกลับมาเร็วจังนะคะแบนกี่วันอะ10 วิ ถือว่าวอร์มเครื่องนะหรือให้ฉันแบนเป็นปีเลยไหมมันได้หรือเปล่าวะวันนึงขอแอบเช็คดูก่อนอ๋อมันแบนได้แค่24 ชั่วโมง Psychopath savage I'm not a person yeah you're definitely a psychopath โอ้ยกูขำไม่ไหวคาริโต้ร่างผู้ภาษาอังกฤษได้ไปต่อไหมไม่ได้ไปต่อค่ะเดี๋ยวเป็น10 ชั่วโมงพี่มันจะจบไลน์แล้วพี่เอาอะไรมากนะเดี๋ยววันพุธค่อยแบนสักชั่วโมงหนึ่ง อยากเห็นโนโซมิทรมานชอบฉันชอบทรมานคนทำบาปทำผมเกินคนยิ่งพูดภาษาอังกฤษฟังไม่ออกฟังก็ไม่ออกสู้ๆค่ะคุณปาล์มนะเพราะว่าภาษาเวียดนามฉันก็อ่านไม่ออกเหมือนกันภาษาจีนยังรู้รอดเลยนะ4 นาทีลงไลน์แล้ว1 วันไปเลยแต่คือถึงแบน1 วันมันก็ไม่มีอะไรเพราะพรุ่งนี้ฉันไม่ได้ไลฟ์ไงพรุ่งนี้ฉันไม่ได้ไลฟ์แบนไปก็ไม่มีประโยชน์นะคะ Am I Cinderella all the time I think you are Biodere I don't know I don't think you fit in the yandere type because a yandere is a person who is willing to do violent stuff in order to get the person that they love but Nozomi you aren't a violent you're just a bad วันไรน่าสนbut you aren't violent towards people you're just obsessive yeah I would say I would call you obsessive but I mean I don't mind being obsessive I just feel like yeah at least someone's likes me I don't know yeah maybe let's stop talking about that but พูดจริงๆนะอย่าไปทำตัวยันเดเลใส่คนอื่นนะเดี๋ยวเขากลัวนะคะความยันเดเลอะไรอ่ะเขาจะหาว่าโรคจิตนะรู้แล้ววันเขาเรียกว่านะวันพุธที่ฉันไลฟ์ภาษาอังกฤษใช่ปะโนโซมิพิมพ์คอมเมนต์คำแรกมาปุ๊บฉันกดแบนเลย30 นาทีแกล้งคนซะหน่อยนะมันเพราะว่ามันแบนได้แค่ครึ่งชั่วโมงไงแล้วคือมันแค่ครึ่งชั่วโมงแล้วไป24 ชั่วโมงอะไรเงี้ยสมมติว่าวันพุธโนสมิพิมพ์อะไรแปลกๆมาปุ๊บกดแบนเลยนะทำไปแล้วสิคะทำอะไร What you do What you do ดีเลย เราสนับสนุนให้คนดูเราตบกันนะคะแปลกๆว่ะจนต้องเปลี่ยนมาเป็นช่องใหม่นี้ฮะคือยูจะบอกว่ายูอ๋อไม่แปลกใจสรุปคือหนูโดนลูกหลงเหรอคะเนี่ยหนูกลายเป็นเหยื่อเหรอคะเนี่ยอุ๊ยน่ากลัวจังเลยไม่เป็นไรเหยื่อก็กัดกลับเป็นเหมือนกันค่ะเอกนาทีนึงจะลงไลฟ์แล้ว We have 50 minutes before we end today's live. Anyone want to say something? alarming. Anyway, off topic, but what do you think about my soft-spoken English voice? You think it sounds different from my normal English speaking voice? There are many YouTubers stuck with me. Yeah, whatever you say. Yeah. You think my soft-spoken English voice sounds like a different person when I speak? Or it just sounds like when I speak normal English but in like a softer tone? Alright, Nozomi, I understand you don't have to spam the same message 3 times. You know? Yeah. So, let's just end the stream right now. Yeah. See you all on Wednesday. I'm gonna speak full English and gonna tease Nozomi all the way. I'm gonna start the live. If Nozomi says something weird in the chat, I'm gonna ban Nozomi for 30 minutes. Yeah. Alright, so I guess that's all for today. See you later. Bye. Ew. Why did it do multiple kiss? Yeah. Turns out I only read Harry Potter for an hour and a half. The other just talk about nonsense. I feel like if other people watch the stream later on, they're probably going to get confused on why I had been complaining about stuff for literally to have a stream. Yeah, I just wanna my internet. Oh no, Nozomi's internet is gone. Come back to me. Don't just be gone yet. Stay with me. And this channel to life. Wait, who's this person again? Nightmares, Nozomi. Yeah. I wanna eat some kapowหมูกรอบ Oh, I forgot to say goodnight to Sandbox. I'm sorry. Good night to you too, Sandbox. See y'all later on Wednesday. I feel like I'm too cocky when I speak English. Do you guys think I should like change my attitude? Or should I just stay the way it was? There's life. Yeah, I already put it in my schedule. I'm gonna do full Ian. Oh wait. No. Sam wasn't talking about me. I don't think Sam was talking about me. I'm sorry. Oh my god, why am I so slow? Yeah. So, no zombie. Don't send weird message on Wednesday if you don't want to get banned for 30 minutes. I'm warning you. And see y'all on